Chapter 1174. Time flew by, and in the blink of an eye, 3 months had passed. Luli never came out after he entered the wicked bead, nor did he make any noise. It was as if he had vanished. If it were not for the fact that the wicked bead was floating in the air, many would have forgotten about Luli. During the 3 months, nearly 100 semi-god realm warriors had been attacking day and night. Many of them had been attacking with all their might. However, the result after 3 months frustrated many people. The divine imperial city showed no reaction. Every time they attacked, the glow would not brighten, just like the first time. Even the deaf Taoist and blazing Hua were getting impatient. That being said, they dared not to disobey Luli's orders. That being said, they did not take action against those who were slacking off. Instead, they would use warning looks from time to time. Not only the others, but even Lu Runhuang was doubting himself. Was this city something that could be breached by humans? Not even an immortal could break it. How could a group of semi-god realm cultivators? He and many others had pinned their hopes on Luli. After all, Luli had killed Yin Jun, who was wearing a relic. Maybe Luli had made a breakthrough after some time of closed-door cultivation. Or Luli had studied for a while and figured out a way to break the relic city. Due to the presence of blazing Hua and the deaf Taoist, none of the semi-god realm warriors dared to leave. Even though their attacks were weak, they would not slack off all the time. Luli stayed in the hall of the wicked bead. He had been so absorbed in the study of inhibition formations that he had forgotten about time and everything in the outside world. In the past, he was very disgusted with things like array formations and restrictions. Otherwise, he would have already started studying them. Recently, however, he discovered that he had fallen in love with this thing. The more he delved into the study of array formations, the more unfathomable and addictive he felt. He had now completed the accumulation of the simplest basic knowledge, but he did not immediately look at the 3 books on breaking arrays. Instead, he began to systematically study from simple to complex. He even had the urge to refine some basic tools. He definitely wouldn't be able to refine divine tools, but it wouldn't be bad to be able to refine some profound level tools. However, he knew that he didn't have that much time now. If he had time in the future, he could slowly explore it. If they could craft a legendary weapon and leave it for the Lu family, they would have more backing. He didn't look at the 3 books on breaking arrays because he knew that with his current knowledge, he wouldn't be able to comprehend them. Restrictive array formations were too profound, complex, and mysterious. It was impossible to reach the heavens in a short period of time. Right now, he was only learning about the basics of formations and restrictions. Once he grasped the basics of formations and restrictions, he would be able to further study the knowledge of divine formations. Only by comprehending part of the knowledge of divine arrays could one study how to break them. If you don't understand something, how can you decipher it? Luli planned to study for another 3 months to see if he could master the basic knowledge of formations from the divinity. After that, he would spend several more months to figure out how to crack formations from the divinity. He had been monitoring the situation outside. She had subsidiary bodies in the prison of gold, the prison of water, the prison of earth, the prison of wood, the heaven reverse realm, and the water plane region. Nothing could escape her detection. Since he didn't remind him, Luli chose to forget about what was going on outside. He immersed himself in the study of inhibition formations. Luli had thought that after 3 months of study, he would have some basic knowledge of inhibition formations and inhibition formations. 3 months later, he realized that he was wrong, ridiculously wrong. In the first 3 months, he had read at least 100 books. In the next 3 months, he had read another 100 books. Even so, he realized that what he had learned was still limited. The study of inhibition formations was broad and profound. The more he studied, the more abstruse and mysterious he found it. He had a feeling that he would have to read at least 1/3 of the tens of thousands of books here to master the basic knowledge of inhibition formations. He picked up the 3 books on cracking formations from the divinity and read them for several days to verify his theory. However, after 3 days, he was defeated. He was right. Formations from the divinity were too complicated. Given what he had learned, He could not understand the 3 books. In 6 months, he had read less than 300 books. There were 20 to 30,000 books here. To study the 3 books on cracking formations from the divinity, he would have to read at least 10,000 books. By the way, to read 10,000 books, it would take him at least 20 years. After all, he was not just reading. He had to study the contents in the books. The later books would be more and more difficult to learn. In 20 years, all the semi-god realm warriors out there would have run away. Who would attack the relic city for 20 years? Luli stopped. He decided to go to the prison of wind to see if he could become an immortal. 20 years was a long time. Not even he could wait that long. He came out from the wicked bead. He took a look and noticed that the others were attacking feebly. Less than half of the nearly 100 semi-god realm warriors were attacking with full strength. The others were putting on a show. As a matter of fact, they were not doing much. Luli took another look at the imperial city. Nothing changed, just like the first day. It was as if the city would never be breached. Swish, swish, swish. Luli's appearance attracted many people's attention. Many people's eyes glowed. They wanted to see if Luli had made any breakthrough after cultivating for half a year, or if he could find a way to crack the divine imperial city. Blazing what? Deaf Taoist? Come here. Luli shouted and nodded to Lu Renwang. The 3 of them flew over at once. 2 miles later, Luli explained, I need to go to the prison of wind to see if I can become an immortal. The deaf Taoist and Blazing Hua did not have the courage to ask questions. Lu Renhuang asked, Luli, you cannot crack the divine imperial city now? Yes. Luli nodded. Formations from the divinity are too complicated. It will take me at least a dozen years to learn a way to crack them. I want to try to become an immortal. Lu Renhuang's eyes glowed. Are you confident that you can become an immortal? Yes. Luli said with certainty. I am confident. It is only a matter of time before I become an immortal. Okay, off you go. We'll take care of this. Lu Renhuang was exhilarated. Luli becoming an immortal was more delightful than breaking the divine imperial city. Luli did have some confidence that he could become an immortal. He had gained some new insights from the study of inhibition formations. Even though it did not seem to be of much help at the moment, it could give him a hand at critical moments and help him become an immortal. Whoosh! After a moment of discussion with the 3, Luli flew back. He glanced at the others and shouted, Thank you for your hard work. I have seen what you have done. I am confident that I can break the divine imperial city. What I lack now is a critical material. Keep it up. When I come back, we will break into the divine imperial city together and divide the Yin family's wealth. With that said, Luli glanced over to everyone with dignity and added, I hope you will not slack off when I am not here. Blazing Hua and the deaf Taoist are short-tempered. Do not make them unhappy. Chapter 1175. Luli left the region of flowers and went to the central imperial universe. He left the prison of gold and hurried to the prison of ice. It took him more than a dozen days to arrive at the prison of wind. At the prison of wind, Luli flew toward the land of treasures he discovered before. It was a cluster of mountains where the wind was strange. Last time, if it were not for the fact that he had to save Lu Renhuang, Luli would have stopped to cultivate. After a day, Luli stood in the middle of a cluster of mountains. The position of the mountains here was strange. When the wind blew in, it would be fast and slow down at times. Then there would be tornadoes and there would be some deafening noises. Luli still remembered clearly that there was a valley not far away, and the wind in the valley was moving at an incredible speed. These few places had stirred his heart, and he could keenly sense the existence of the heavenly rhythm in some places. Whoosh! First, he flew around the mountains. His eyes were closed, and he used his heart to feel the changes in the wind around him, to feel the heavenly rhythm that existed in the surroundings. Walking in the mountains, Luli put the relic armor back into his body. His robe was fluttering in the wind, and his white hair was dancing in the air. The wind here was strong. It hurt his face, and he could even feel the wind scratching him. Luli's physical defense was strong. Average attacks could not leave a scratch on his skin. The wind here was sharp. Luli would stop from time to time. The map of the fundamental principle and the 12 profound meanings related to wind emerged in his mind. He deduced and verified them over and over again. Woo-woo. He came to a place where the noise was strong. The noise was so strong that his eardrums were bleeding. He turned a deaf ear and stood here for a day and night. After that, he went to the canyon again and stood in the canyon against the strong wind. He stood there for a few days. He kept his eyes closed. He could feel the rhythm of nature around him. Since he had learned the 12 profound meanings related to wind, he had a sense of intimacy and familiarity with nature's rhythm. Flowers bloomed and withered. Clouds rolled in and out. Luli had been walking in the mountains nearby for 3 months. Every now and then, he would feel something in his mind. But when he tried to trace it, he could not find anything and he could not grasp anything. It was just like the strong wind in the sky. He could clearly feel it and feel the pain on his face, but he couldn't see it or grab it. Luli was getting impatient. Doing something over and over again without any results would make anyone feel annoyed, anxious, and out of control. He decisively stopped cultivating, rested for half a day, ate some food, and then walked around the mountain range. He didn't deliberately try to comprehend it. He was just walking like this to see if there were any unexpected gains. 1 day, 2 days, 5 days, his eyes gradually became confused, and he began to doubt himself again. 12 true diagrams, 12 profoundness. Although they came from the same source and were connected to each other, how difficult would it be to fuse them together? This was not kneading dough. It was done by kneading it together. Luli walked into the valley again. He had something on his mind, so he didn't pay much attention to the outside. The whirlwind here was fast. Luli was lifted up by the wind and flew to the other side of the valley. The wind here was getting faster and faster. Luli was flying faster and faster. He had become one with the sand and dust. He was covered in sand, which made him look more like a grain of sand. At this moment, Luli was surprised. He was being blown by the wind. At such a high speed, he had become part of the sandstorm. Could it be that he had become a part of the sandstorm? Can it be? Luli was touched. He was trembling. He felt he had grasped a clue. If he could dig deeper, he might be able to integrate the true diagrams. Bang! He was blown out of the valley and landed on the barren land in front of him. Luli didn't care about anything else. He sat down with his legs crossed and entered the state of transcendent to cultivate. Woo-woo! He was at the mouth of the valley where the wind was strong. Luli's robe and hair were fluttering in the gale. His robe was torn in many places. His white hair was messy. His face was covered with dust and stains. He looked like a vagrant. 1 day, 2 days, 5 days. Luli, who had been cultivating, suddenly opened his eyes. His eyes were filled with rage. He slapped at a hill in the distance. Boom! The hill fell apart. Dirt and stones were flying everywhere. The wind stirred up a cloud of dust. Luli could not help but be angry. He was at a critical moment in his cultivation. If nothing went wrong, he might be able to integrate the true diagrams in several months. However, something unexpected happened. His soul was disturbed. He noticed something shocking. The spiritual connection between him and the immortal's body was weakening. The immortal's body was controlled by the silver dragon mark and became Luli's puppet. The immortal's body had a strong spiritual connection with Luli. Luli could monitor the immortal's body's every move through the spiritual connection. Now, the spiritual connection was weakening. How could Luli not be shocked? If the spiritual connection between him and the immortal's body was completely gone, then Luli would lose control of the immortal's body. Luli did not know what had gone wrong, but he knew he could not let it go on like this. He must go back to the divine imperial universe at once. Otherwise, the immortal's body might go on a killing spree. And Lu Renhuang was there. Of course, Luli could ask you to tell Lu Renhuang to stay away from the immortal's body. However, the fact that the immortal's body was out of control shocked Luli. He would not be able to focus on cultivation as long as he could not figure this out. Also, Emperor Z said that Luli's body was the strongest in the third plane of the divinity. His body contained a super skill that could refine the body. Luli wanted to study it in detail after he went to the divinity. Let's go. Luli thought for a moment, and then dashed toward the entrance to the prison of ice in the wicked bead. The spiritual connection between him and the immortal's body had been weakening. However, it would take time for the connection to be completely severed. Luli had a chance to go back to the divine imperial universe before the immortal's body was completely out of control. Back in the wicked bead, Luli ordered, check the immortal's body and see if there is anything wrong. Ask my father if there is anything wrong with the immortal's body recently. Hiyu closed her eyes and sat with her legs crossed. She tried to sense the situation through her subsidiary bodies. Luli flew the wicked bead while waiting anxiously. After an hour, Hiyu finally opened her eyes. She was hesitant as well. She reported, the immortal's body has been attacking the divine imperial city recently. He never left. Nobody is getting close to the city. Lord Luren Huang said he did not find anything wrong. But I just checked with my subsidiary bodies. The blood-red tattoo on the back of his neck is glowing. Blood-red tattoo? Bloodvine. A glint of coldness rose in Lu Li's eyes. The blood-red tattoo appeared after the bloodvine entered the immortal's body. The tattoo was glowing? So it was the bloodvine? The bloodvine was trying to possess the immortal's body? Chapter 1176. To get to the divine imperial universe from the prison of wind, he must go to the prison of ice, the prison of gold, the central imperial universe, the region of flowers, and finally the divine imperial universe. If Luli did not have the wicked bead, which was much faster than the immortal's body, it would take him a year and a half to arrive at the divine imperial universe based on his current speed. At the top of the wicked bead, Luli arrived at the divine imperial universe in half a month. When he arrived at the divine imperial universe, he realized that the spiritual connection between him and the immortal's body had weakened. By the time he arrived at the divine imperial city, the spiritual connection was no longer essential. Luli's return attracted many people's attention. Before he left, Luli said that he was going to look for an important material. When he found it, he could break into the divine imperial city. It had been more than 4 months since Luli left. He must have found the materials he was looking for in such a long time. They had been attacking for 4 months. Nobody dared to leave because of blazing Hua and the Deaf Taoist surveillance. That being said, they were exhausted after such a long period of time. Many would take a break from time to time. The Deaf Taoist and blazing Hua did not kill people at will. Luli told them to do as they saw fit. That did not mean that they could kill at will, which would scare everyone away and make the situation worse. Buzzing, Luli dashed out from the wicked bead. He paid no attention to the Deaf Taoist and blazing Hua who were flying over. He stared at the immortal's body. The immortal's body was still attacking the divine imperial city. The city had been under attack for a long time, but nothing happened. Luli glanced at the imperial city and then at the immortal's body. He stared at the bloodvine tattoo on the immortal's body's neck. The tattoo was glowing in a faint red glow. Even though he was very close to the immortal's body, he felt his spiritual connection with the immortal's body was almost inaudible and could disappear at any moment. The bloodvine was subdued in the water's region. Actually, it was not subdued. The immortal's body had beaten it into submission. In the end, the bloodvine became a shadow and entered the immortal's body. The tattoo of the bloodvine appeared on the immortal's body's neck. Back then, Luli was worried that the bloodvine would take over the immortal's body and take over the immortal's body. Since nothing happened, Luli did not worry. At that time, he heard that the bloodvine's spiritual intelligence was very high and that it was a spiritual plant. He did not expect that something would really happen to it. What should we do? Many thoughts flashed across Lu Li's mind. He could not afford to lose the immortal's body. This was Emperor Zi's body. If the immortal's body was taken away by a goblin, not only would Lu Li feel sorry for Emperor Z, but it would also bring disaster to the 9 universes. At that time, the bloodvine would control the immortal's body to slaughter at will. Countless civilians would die, and he would be the main culprit. Put the immortal's body into the wicked bead first. Lu Li thought about it and flew the wicked bead over. Then, he ordered the immortal's body to stop and not resist the suction force of the wicked bead. The wicked bee glowed. Though the spiritual connection between the immortal's body and Lu Li was faintly discernible, the immortal's body still listened to Lu Li's order. The immortal's body stopped in midair and did not resist. He was taken into the outer hall of the wicked bead. Keep attacking. Lu Li looked around coldly and then waved to Blazing Hua and the deaf Taoist. Come with me. With that said, Lu Li went into the outer hall of the wicked bead with Blazing Hua and the deaf Taoist, ignoring the questions from Lu Ren Huang and the others. These two old monsters had lived for countless years and were very knowledgeable. Perhaps the two of them would have a way. Lu Li tried to come up with a solution, but failed to come up with one. The immortal's body was too strong to be destroyed. The blood vine was in the immortal's body, and there was nothing Lu Li could do. What is it, Lord? The deaf Taoist and Blazing Hua asked in surprise when Lu Li took them in. Pointing to the immortal's body, Lu Li said, "This immortal's body is a puppet that I tamed. In the waters region, I ran into a blood vine. When I was attacking the blood vine entered the immortal's body. Look at the tattoo on the immortal's body's neck. That is the blood vine. Now, the spiritual connection between the immortal's body and me is weakening, and it can disappear at any time. I think the blood vine is taking over the immortal's body. Think of a way to stop the blood vine. Otherwise, the immortal's body will be in trouble if it takes control of him." What? Blazing Hua blinked. He had never heard of such a thing. Can the immortal's body not be destroyed or sealed? Blazing Hua asked after some thoughts. Lu Li threw Blazing Hua a casual glance. Of course you're talking nonsense. Try using the corpse flame and see if you can destroy the immortal's body. The immortal's body is very strong. He must be at least a super mighty warrior in the divinity. Blazing Hua was taken aback. He frowned, trying to come up with a solution. The deaf Taoist said nothing. He used psychic power to check the immortal's body. After a while, the deaf Taoist said, "There are only two solutions. First, destroy or seal the immortal's body. Second, tame the blood vine." Lu Li was satisfied with the deaf Taoist's answer. He asked, "How exactly? Do you have a good idea?" If he could not do it, then Lu Li would have to destroy the immortal's body. Otherwise, if the blood vine controlled the immortal's body and bombarded the wicked bead, the energy in the wicked bead would be drained sooner or later. In the end, the immortal's body would have to be released. Once the immortal's body was released, the consequences would be dire. Civilians of the divine imperial universe might be torn apart by the immortal's body. That was because the blood vine was violent and disgusted with humans. When they encountered the blood vine in the waters region, the blood vine was fighting against humans. The deaf Taoist thought for a while and said, "Find someone who knows how to refine souls or inhibition formations. Refine the soul of the blood vine directly. Theoretically speaking, the blood vine should have no physical body, only an ethereal soul. Right now, the blood vine wants to take over the immortal's body because it wants to have a physical body. Soul refinement formation?" Blazing Hua came to his senses. Brother 3 of the Chun family knows this. Can he take over the remnant souls of ghosts? Outside, Lu Li was intrigued. Blazing Hua nodded. Lu Li and Blazing Hua went out at once. Blazing Hua said to an old man in the distance, "Brother 3 of the Chun family, come here." Brother 3 of the Chun family was Chun Tianxian's cousin. Hearing Blazing Hua's call, Brother 3 of the Chun family flew over and said with a polite smile, "Lord Lu, Lord Hua, what can I do for you?" Later, Lu Li sent Brother 3 of the Chun family in. Pointing to the immortal's body, Lu Li said, "There is an ethereal soul of the blood vine in the immortal's body. It is now occupying the immortal's body. Try to refine the ethereal soul." Ethereal soul? Okay. Brother 3 of the Chun family did not waste any time. He took out some formation stones and began to build a formation. The others waited on the side. Brother 3 of the Chun family was fast. In an hour, a formation was completed. A white shield came out from the formation and enveloped the immortal's body. White flames came out from the formation and enveloped the immortal's body. "Well, you're good." Lu Li nodded. The white flames looked horrifying, but they did not feel any heat. It must be a special kind of flame to deal with ethereal souls. Buzzing. Chapter 1177. Swish, swish, inside the white shield. The white flames were burning brighter. The immortal's body did not seem to be burned. Those flames seemed to be illusions as well. They could penetrate the immortal's body and burn into his body. Buzzing, the bloodvine tattoo was glowing brighter. It was twisting around on the immortal's neck. Lee's eyes glowed. Brother 3 of the Chun family's method was effective. He could hurt the bloodvine, consume the bloodvine's spirit. If he can't, burn it to death. Lee ordered coldly. Brother 3 of the Chun family nodded. He sat down on the ground and began to make hand seals. He poured out Xian energy to boost the power of the formation. As Brother 3 of the Chun family did so, the white flames had filled up the white shield. Even the immortal's body was enveloped by the white flames. The bloodvine tattoo was glowing brighter and brighter. Lee could feel that the spiritual connection between him and the immortal's body was strengthening. This meant that Brother 3's soul refinement formation could hurt the bloodvine spirit. When the bloodvine was hurt, its control over the immortal's body was weakened. Wait. A moment later, Lee's pupils contracted in fear. The bloodvine tattoo suddenly began to glow. Then, the tattoo grew weaker and eventually it vanished. What is going on? Lee stared at Brother 3 of the Chun family in shock. The latter opened his eyes, which were filled with sadness. He shook his head and said, "Lord, this is not good. There is a miraculous formation inside the immortal's body. The bloodvine spirit is hiding in the formation. My soul refinement fire cannot burn it. Is there any other way?" Lee was troubled. The immortal's body was a miraculous place. Not only were there formations, but there were also strange patterns. He once checked and realized that the immortal's body was like a complicated formation, a vast maze that he could not explore thoroughly. Now that the spirit was in the formation, if the soul refinement fire could not burn it, the immortal's body would be out of Lee's control sooner or later. "Lord, please wait a moment." Brother 3 of the Chun family closed his eyes to check and then continued to burn the immortal's body. After a while, he opened his eyes and said, "This is difficult. My flames cannot penetrate the formation inside the immortal's body. Lord, I do not know what to do." "You do not know what to do?" Lee pursed his lips and said, "Don't worry. Think about it. Is there any other way?" Lee turned to the deaf Taoist and blazing Hua. "Think about it. Is there any other way?" If the immortal's body was controlled by the bloodvine, it would be a catastrophe for the 9 realms. The god corpse's physical body is extremely strong, and no one can destroy it. "How about," Blazing Hua suggested, "should we gather a group of people to build a formation to seal the immortal's remains?" Blazing Hua had once used the furnace to release flames to trap the immortal's body, so he did not care too much about the immortal's body. He thought that he could simply set up a formation to seal the immortal's body inside. This is the last resort. Lee waved his hand. The immortal's body must have many abilities that are yet to be discovered. If he is controlled by the bloodvine and has intelligence, the immortal's body will be much more destructive. At this moment, blood-red patterns suddenly appeared on the legs of the god corpse. Vines quickly emerged from the legs and spread out like blood towards the foundation of the formation. Bang! Before Lee, Brother 3 of the Chun family, and the others could react, the vines had penetrated into the formation stones. The formation stones exploded. Then, the shield outside the formation and the flames inside all vanished. What? Lee, Blazing Hua, and the deaf Taoist were alarmed. The bloodvine had taken the initiative to attack and destroyed the formation so easily. Lee and the others were shocked and frightened at the same time. The bloodvine could break the formation? Did it mean that a formation to seal the bloodvine could be destroyed easily? Could the bloodvine control the immortal's body to fly away? Lee had a more profound thought. If the bloodvine reached into the wicked bead, could it cut off the spiritual connection between him and the wicked bead? Could it take over the wicked bead as well? I must try my best to kill the bloodvine. Luli shuddered at the thought. He made up his mind. The blood vine was strange, and he could not control it at all. This was not a good feeling. After the formation was broken, the blood vine retracted its tentacle. The lines on the immortal's body's leg disappeared as well. The blood vine must have gone back into the formation inside the immortal's body. At the moment, Luli clearly felt the spiritual connection between him and the immortal's body was weakening. The blood vine must be trying to take control of the immortal's body. The deaf Taoist took a look at the immortal's body and said, "The hollow soul is highly intelligent and knows how to break formations. If we do not control or destroy it, we will be in big trouble. I don't know much about hollow souls and spirits, and I don't know much about inhibition formations. Lord, there is nothing I can do." The deaf Taoist came from the region of doom. Even he could not do anything. This was a tricky situation. Blazing Hood did not say another word. Just now, he said he would seal the immortal's body. Now that the blood vine knew how to break formations, Blazing Hood's plan had failed. For the moment, there seemed to be nothing he could do to the blood vine. The biggest problem was that the immortal's body was too strong. The immortal's body could not be destroyed. The blood vine could not hurt the immortal's body as it hid in the formation. Luli turned to Brother 3 of the Chen family and asked, "How do you deal with hollow souls, spirits, and remnant souls in the past?" Brother 3 of the Chen family thought about it and explained, "Usually there are 3 ways to control hollow souls. The first is to use formations. The second is to use skills. The third is to burn the hollow soul." But Brother 3 of the Chen family continued with a bitter smile, "You have seen the formations. They are useless. The hollow soul is hiding in the immortal's body. I don't even have to use skills. I have a tripod, but I don't think it will be of much use. The immortal's body is too strong. It is useless." Tripod? Luli was intrigued. He remembered the ding of Barbarian God. The ding of Barbarian God contained thunderbolts which were violent and destructive. If the ding of Barbarian God was used, the hollow soul might be destroyed. However, the ding of Barbarian God was with Little White, and Little White was in the prison of thunder. It would take Little White at least a month to get to the prison of thunder. After a month, the immortal's body would have changed owners. With the immortal's body, the blood vine would be even more difficult to deal with. Right? Luli remembered that in the hall in the Wicked Bead where the books on inhibition formations were stored, there were 3 side halls. In one of the smaller halls, there seemed to be a tripod that could be used to forge relics. Brother 3 of the Chun family, come with me. Luli teleported to that hall with Brother 3 of the Chun family. Without any delay, Luli pushed open the door to the first side hall and walked in with Brother 3 of the Chun family. What? Brother 3 of the Chun family saw a huge tripod placed in the side hall with many smaller ones around. Brother 3 of the Chun family took a few glances. His eyes glowed. He walked over to the tripod without saying anything. He touched the patterns on the tripod and used Xian energy to check it. Then, he exclaimed, "This tripod has an exquisite structure. The formations are complicated and the materials are strange. Lord, your tripod is a relic, right? That is none of your business." Luli waved his hand. "Can you use this tripod to consume the bloodvine's hollow soul? I am not sure." Chapter 1178. Luli urged Brother 3 of the Chun family at once. Brother 3 of the Chun family was not in a hurry. He walked around the tripod and released Xian energy several times. He tried to dissolve the tripod, only to realize that he could not. He walked around and even opened the lid. After studying for an hour, he said in frustration, "Lord, this should be a relic tripod, but I don't know how to use it." **T. Luli rolled his eyes. He had thought that Brother 3 of the Chun family was familiar with tripod, since he saw Brother 3 of the Chun family climbing up and down. However, Brother 3 of the Chun family did not know how to use it. "Wait here." Luli vaguely remembered that there was a book about tripod outside. He went out and browsed. After the time for 1 incense stick to burn, he found the book. He threw it to Brother 3 of the Chun family and said, "This book is about how to use the relic tripod. Read it now." Brother 3 of the Chun family sat down and read every page carefully. An hour later, he pointed to a line of words and said, "Lord, what does this mean? I don't understand." Luli glanced over and was rendered speechless. He picked up the book and began to read it himself. This was because there were many abstruse words in the book, and they were professional knowledge about formations and restrictions. Luckily, he had read more than 300 books on basic knowledge, or else he would not be able to understand. Some technical terms were hard to explain. Luli decided to study how to use the relic tripod himself, and asked Brother 3 of the Chun family to stay on the side. Luli browsed quickly. In 4 hours, he had basically mastered how to use the relic tripod. He sent the Deaf Taoist and the Immortal's body over, but Blazing Hua did not care. Blazing Hua poured out Xian energy at a line on the lid. After more than a dozen Xian energy, the tripod began to glow and the lid flew up automatically. Immortal's body, go in, Luli ordered. The spiritual connection between him and the Immortal's body was still there. The Immortal's body flew in and closed the lid. Luli walked out without saying anything. He went to the second hall and took out many red crystals, some white crystals in the shape of diamonds, and 10 black stones. Deaf Taoist. Luli handed the interspatial ring with the crystals to the Deaf Taoist and said, "Later, when I say it, throw the crystals in." The Deaf Taoist took control of the interspatial ring and stood aside obediently. Luli's hands glowed with Xian energy. He ran around quickly and kept releasing Xian energy around the tripod. Every time he struck out his profound energy, he was very accurate, hitting on some of the strange patterns on the cauldron. After he poured out dozens of strands of Xian energy, the tripod trembled. Luli shouted, "Deaf Taoist, throw 10 red crystals down." The Deaf Taoist threw out some crystals. Luli poured out Xian energy, and those crystals burst into flames. The temperature of the fire was so high that Luli and the Deaf Taoist and Brother 3 of the Chun family were soaked in sweat. That being said, the 3 of them were powerful warriors. They could stand the heat. Luli poured more Xian energy into the tripod. After the time for 1 incense stick to burn, he shouted, "Throw in 10 red crystals and 1 white crystal." The Deaf Taoist threw the crystals into the tripod accurately. The fire burned brighter. When the white crystal was thrown in, the fire swept out and enveloped the entire tripod. The temperature in the hall was 10 times higher. Whoosh, Brother 3 of the Chun family was frightened. He stepped back to the corner and stared at the fire in terror. He knew very well how hot and horrifying the fire was. He was just an average warrior at the middle stage of the semi-god realm. He would be burnt to death if he was burnt by the fire. The Deaf Taoist stepped back. He could feel the power of the fire, and the temperature was so high that he was sweating. Luli was not feeling well either, but he had to endure it. The dragon armor came out to protect him from the heat. He knew that there was an inhibition formation in the hall. If the inhibition formation was activated, the temperature would not be so high. It was a pity that he did not know how to use it now. He poured in more Xian energy. The tripod was a relic. To activate the formation inside was complicated. Until now, he had not activated it completely. Deaf Taoist, throw in all the red crystals. Throw in 1 white crystal every time for half an incense stick to burn. Now, throw in 1 black crystal. Luli gave another order. This time, Luli put on the relic armor for fear that he would be burned. This time, the Deaf Taoist was so nervous that he wanted to transform. Following Luli's order, he threw in all the red crystals, followed by a white crystal, and finally a black crystal. Bang, bang, when the black crystal was thrown in, the fire soared again and the temperature was 10 times higher. Brother 3 of the Chun family could not stand it anymore. He was about to be burned and scream in pain. Luli thought he might as well teleport Brother 3 of the Chun family to the outer hall. There was no point in keeping him here. That is horrifying. Luli's skin was covered with dragon scales, and he was wearing the relic armor. Even so, the heat could still be felt. The Deaf Taoist had to transform, or else he would not be able to stand the heat. He might not be burned to death, but at the very least, he would be burned. Okay, Luli poured in dozens of strands of Xian energy to make sure that the tripod was activated and running on its own. Luli stopped and walked to the Death Taoist. He stared at the tripod, feeling uneasy. The tripod was used to forge relic weapons. Would the immortal's body be useful? What if the tripod was useless? How could he deal with the immortal's body? Time moved on. Following Luli's order, the Death Taoist would throw in a white crystal every once in a while and a black crystal every now and then. A while later, Luli sat down with his legs crossed and ignored the tripod. Since he had not taken control of the tripod, there was no spiritual connection with him. He did not know what was going on in the tripod. By sitting down, he could sense the spiritual connection with the immortal's body to see if it could help the bloodvine. Well, okay. As soon as he tried, he noticed something was wrong. His spiritual connection with the immortal's body was growing stronger. The bloodvine must have been hurt. Luli checked for a while and then went to the second hall to take out some red, white, and black crystals for the Death Taoist. After all, there are many of these crystals in the second hall. They could last for years. Okay. Luli felt the spiritual connection with the immortal's body was growing stronger. He was relieved. At this rate, the bloodvine would be incinerated. The immortal's body was strong. Nothing would go wrong in a short time. An hour later, Luli noticed that the spiritual connection with the immortal's body was about to recover. He was relieved. That being said, right at that moment, Luli suddenly received a message through the spiritual connection with the immortal's body. Luli was startled, thinking that Emperor Z had come back to life. There was only one message. Human, can we talk? Human? It meant that the immortal's body was not human. Luli figured it out right away. The bloodvine must be tired. Through the spiritual connection between the immortal's body and Luli, the bloodvine wanted to negotiate. Negotiate. Chapter 1179. Luli did not answer. A moment later, the bloodvine spirit said again, Human, I am sincere. If you don't want to talk, I will destroy all the formations in the immortal's body. Then, your immortal's body will be useless. You will no longer be able to attack. This demon spirit was actually threatening him? Luli hated being threatened the most. He could be persuaded by reason, but not cowed by force. Through the immortal's body's spiritual link, Luli said, Go ahead. I am more powerful than the immortal's body now. It doesn't matter. Don't even think about living. I'll refine you while you're still alive and destroy your soul. You won't be able to reincarnate. The bloodvine paused for a moment and said, Humph, what kind of combat power can a mere human like you have? Even if they became deities, they would still be far weaker than this god corpse. This celestial corpse is very powerful, and there are many functions that you are unable to discover. However, I can help you release all of the celestial corpse's battle power. Once the celestial corpse's battle power is fully released, I dare to guarantee that it will surpass many divine spirits. Even ordinary divine spirits will be easily killed. Luli was intrigued by the bloodvine's words. Emperor Z said that his physical body was the strongest under the third plane of the divinity, and that the immortal's body was not as strong as Emperor Z said. The immortal's body could deal with average warriors at the peak of the semi-god realm, but not powerful ones like Blazing Hua and the Death Taoist. In the past, Luli had wondered if he could not unleash the full power of the immortal's body. He had thought that the immortal's body had no soul and was not flexible enough. Now that the bloodvine had said so, he was a bit tempted. Of course, Luli would not negotiate with the bloodvine. He snorted and said, I don't need it anymore. Destroy it. I can lose control of the immortal's body at any moment. To avoid any accidents, it's better to burn you to death. Negotiation required finesse. Luli would like to learn more about the immortal's body. However, an immortal's body that could go out of control at any time was not a help, but a hidden danger. Therefore, Luli made it clear that it was up to the bloodvine to decide. After all, Luli had taken the initiative. The bloodvine could not hold on much longer if she asked to negotiate. She could be burned to death by the tripod at any time. After the time it took for half an incense stick to burn, the bloodvine couldn't hold on any longer. She sent a message. Human, what on earth do you want? Why don't you let me out, and I'll leave the god's corpse? No. Now that he had the upper hand, how could Luli show weakness? He said firmly, "You've committed a crime, and you want to walk away? There is no such good thing in the world. Think about it yourself. If you can satisfy me, I'll spare your life." As a matter of fact, Luli did not know how to deal with the blood vine. He wanted to tame it, but did not know how. In history, a blood vine once appeared in the waters region. It was brought to the divinity realm by the gods of the waters region and refined into a magic weapon. Later, it evolved into a top-grade divine artifact with great power. Luli did not know how to control the blood vine. He had to ask the blood vine to surrender on its own. He believed that it was not easy for this plant demon spirit to cultivate. It was not easy for it to gain sentience, so it would not want to die so easily. The blood vine fell silent. It seemed to be considering whether to give up or not. After the time it took for 3 incense sticks to burn, it said, "Stop the divine cauldron first, or I will be completely refined. I can follow you, but I have one condition." "State your conditions first." Luli did not tell the deaf Taoist to stop throwing in the crystals, nor did he stop the divine cauldron. A moment later, the blood vine said, "I can follow you for now, but when you go to the divinity, you must find me an intact immortal's body, and you must let me go in 100 years. The blood vine was intelligent. It must know humans well, and it knew that Luli would go to the divinity sooner or later. Luli thought about it for a moment before he said, "What can I get out of surrendering to me? If you do not have any abilities, what can I do with you?" "Yes." The blood vine seemed to be irritated. "I have been cultivating for 10,000 years. My bloodvine race has powerful skills. Also, I can help you control the immortal's body. I can control the immortal's body, and I can help you take control of it. When it is done, the immortal's body will be at least 100 times stronger than it is now." 100 times. Luli was taken aback. "Are you sure?" he asked in astonishment. The confirmation from the bloodvine made Luli's breath short. He calmed himself down and asked, "How can you surrender to me? Do you want to be my spiritual beast?" "No," the bloodvine replied. "Give me half a day. I will become one with the immortal's body. By then, I can have a direct spiritual connection with you. But you must promise me that you will help me find a suitable immortal's body in 100 years. "Not in 100 years. Luli refused decisively. 500 years. You have a long life. 500 years is no different from 100 years. Besides, when I go to the divinity, it will be hard for me to find a suitable immortal's body in a short time. If it is too weak, it will be pointless for you." "Deal," the bloodvine said. Surprisingly, she did not ask Luli to take an almighty oath. Luli did not mind. He told the deaf Taoist to stop throwing in crystals. He poured out Xian energy to stop the tripod. He was not afraid that the bloodvine would play tricks. On the contrary, he had a spiritual connection with the immortal's body. He could turn on the tripod to consume the bloodvine's spirit at any time. He had the absolute initiative. "How is it, my lord?" "Lord." The deaf Taoist did not know the situation. "I don't know yet." "Wait," Luli explained. He closed his eyes and waited for the bloodvine's surrender. The spiritual connection between the immortal's body and Luli had always been strong. Luli waited patiently. Half a day later, Luli was shocked. All of a sudden, he felt there was something in the spiritual connection between him and the immortal's body. It was as if there was a special connection in the spiritual connection. There was more information in his mind, information about the bloodvine. "Okay, master." A female voice came directly to Luli's soul. "I am the bloodvine. I have named myself Blood Fairy. Now, I am your slave. I hope you will not break your promise." Luli did not answer the bloodvine. He checked his soul and was relieved to make sure that the silver dragon did not have any reaction. His soul was fine. Now he had a spiritual connection with the bloodvine. He had absolute control over the bloodvine. He could put his mind at ease. He patted the tripod and the lid was opened. The immortal's body flew out and knelt to Luli. Well, the immortal's body did not have a soul and never knelt. It seemed that the blood vine had completely integrated with the immortal's body. The blood vine could control the immortal's body. Otherwise, the immortal's body would not have knelt down. Luli checked the immortal's body. There was not much change. The blood vine tattoo was still on the back of his neck. Luli was relieved. Stand up. The immortal's body stood up. In Luli's mind came the female voice again. She said something that made him tremble. Master, we, the blood vine, have a powerful skill, and that is to crack formations. Master, don't you want to break down the city? I, Blood Fairy, can lend a hand. Luli's eyes were wide open. You can break down the divine imperial city. I'm not sure, but I am 50% sure. Chapter 1180. Bloodvine said that she had a 50% chance of breaching the divine imperial city, which came as a pleasant surprise to Luli. He had thought that he would find a way to break the divine imperial city after he became an immortal. But would he be able to break the divine imperial city even if he was an immortal? In history, more than 2 deities had come here, but they had all returned in low spirits. Luli's breaths were short. He said at once, Blood Fairy, what help do you need? As long as you can break the divine imperial city, I will find you a body that you will like in the divinity. The divine imperial city was too important to Luli. With the divine imperial city, the Lu family would be safe, and Luli could go to the divinity with peace of mind. How could the Yin family enjoy glory for hundreds of thousands of years? It had little to do with the fact that Yin Tiangang was a mighty warrior in the divinity. After all, no matter how powerful a mighty warrior was, distant water could not put out a nearby fire. Emperor of Heaven Reverse was a mighty warrior in the divinity as well. Last time, if it were not for Luli, the Heaven Reverse universe would have been wiped out. The key was the divine imperial city. With the divine imperial city, the Yin family would never be destroyed. Even if someone were to attack the divine imperial universe, the Yin family could defend or attack. In the old days, the Yin family had relic armors and weapons. The Yin family patriarch could kill his way out and kill his enemies one by one. It could be said that the divine imperial city was the Yin family's greatest reliance and the guarantee that the Yin family could stand at the peak of the 9 universes. The Lu family was weak now. However, with the divine imperial city, the Lu family would have no worries and could grow. In hundreds or thousands of years, the Lu family could become a super family like the Yin family. Soon, Blood Fairy said, I don't need help, but I need some time to study. The formation in the immortal's body is intricate. I will learn a lot in a month, and I will have a better chance of breaching the city. Okay. Luli nodded and told Blood Fairy to study. He opened his eyes and told the deaf Taoist to take it easy. Luli also told Blazing Hua and Brother 3 of the Chun family to cultivate in the outer hall for a month. He did not explain anything and started cultivation as well. He had learned something in the Prison of Wind. He wanted to see if he could achieve a breakthrough. On second thought, Luli asked you to tell Lu Renhuang to wait for a month. It was quiet inside the wicked bead, but it was a mess outside. Blazing Hua, the deaf Taoist, and Brother 3 of the Chun family had entered the wicked bead and never came out. Everyone waited for a few days, full of hope, but nothing happened. Many stopped their attacks. After all, the deaf Taoist and Blazing Hua were not here. Moreover, they had been attacking for so long that they were tired. If Luli found out, he wouldn't say anything, right? Lu Renhuang was still attacking with full force. He didn't reprimand many people when they stopped. No one knew that he was Lu Li's father. Even if he were to say something, no one would listen. The divine imperial city, on the other hand, had quieted down a long time ago. After all, they had been attacking here for more than 10 months. In the beginning, the city walls were filled with elders of the Yin family and experts of the vassal families. Now, there were only 4 or 5 experts standing on the city walls. No one in the city cared about them. Yin Hu went back to the divine imperial castle after 10 days. He said in person that given the energy stored in the divine imperial castle, it would take them at least 3,000 years to finish the attack. Although this was an exaggeration, all the people in the city were completely relieved. That's right. Back then, two immortals came to attack the divine imperial city in person. They could not break the city and had to go back in disgrace. There were many semi-god realm warriors out there, but would that help? The divine imperial city was a super city. The population of the Yin family, the vassal families, the families that were connected to the Yin family by marriage, and the families that were connected to the Yin family had reached 10 million. Some of the elite disciples had been sent back to their ancestral lands. Otherwise, the population would be even larger. Living in the divine imperial city with 10 million people did not feel crowded. It was just boring. With the enemies around, many forms of entertainment could not be carried out. Apart from cultivating, the disciples of the families could only gather together to chat and drink tea. Lu Li's return caught the attention of some higher-ups in the Yin family. However, after Lu Li let the Deaf Taoist and Blazing Hua into the wicked bead, the semi-god realm warriors stopped their attacks. The higher-ups of the Yin family were relieved. It seemed that Lu Li was bluffing. If he could break the divine imperial city, he would have done so earlier. Why would he wait until today? A month later, Lu Li came again with the Deaf Taoist and Blazing Hua. Brother 3 of the Chun family was not with him. The semi-god realm warriors that were resting or attacking leisurely became nervous. They hurried to attack with full force. For a moment, the city was bustling with noise and excitement. Lu Li glanced over to everyone and said, "Thank you for your hard work. I have discussed with Blazing Hua and the Deaf Taoist. We have come up with a feasible solution. What we need now is a material. Keep attacking. I will be back in a month at most, and we will breach the city together. Let's do it. Believe in Lord Lu. That is right. Let's do it." The Deaf Taoist and Blazing Hua shouted. They flew toward the divine imperial city and attacked with full force. Lu Li did not look at them. He nodded to Lu Ren Huang without saying anything and went back into the wicked bead. Buzzing, the wicked bead glowed as the immortal's body came out. He dashed toward the divine imperial city and bombarded the city as usual. The others did not mind. They stared at the wicked bead and watched as it flew away. What? As soon as Lu Li left, many people began to whisper. Even though the Deaf Taoist and Blazing Hole were here, many people could not help but discuss. Lu Li had been struggling for a long time. Every time, he would put on a good show. However, he disappointed them again and again. He did not even take action once. This had shaken people's confidence in him. Some even wondered if Lu Li was lying to them or if he had gathered them here on purpose. What is Li Er doing? Even Lu Ren Huang was having doubts. He was exhausted after such a long period of attack. If he were not Lu Li's father, he would have slacked off. 1 month. Many people were uncertain. However, since Lu Li said he would be back in a month, they had to wait for another month. Many people made up their minds. If Lu Li could not come up with a good solution in a month, they would have to propose a retreat. They could not keep wasting time like this. What they did not know was the blood-red tattoo on the immortal's body's neck had disappeared. What was more, they did not notice that this time the immortal's body's attack was slightly different from before. The immortal's body chose a remote corner to attack. He kept one hand on the wall of the divine imperial city and punched at the city with the other hand. A blood-red vine shadow quietly stretched out from his palm that was attached to the city wall. The phantom directly pierced into the barrier outside the city. Because it pierced through the palm, no one noticed it. The inhibition formations of the divine imperial city did not show any reaction. Nobody in the city noticed. Lu Li did not leave to look for materials. He was covering for the blood vine. Without him around, the Yin family would be less vigilant, which would give the blood vine a good chance to crack the formation. Lu Li left the divine imperial city. After all, there might be scouts of the Yin family in the divine imperial universe. He went to the region of flowers and found a secluded place to hide and wait. Chapter 1181. Lu Li's departure surprised Yin Hu and the higher-ups of the Yin family. Nobody knew what Lu Li was up to. Could he really find a way to crack the divine imperial city? Yin Hu and a group of patriarchs had a discussion. They decided to send scouts to investigate Lu Li's whereabouts through a special channel. They wanted to see if Luli was really looking for materials to crack the formation. However, the wicked bead was so fast that the scouts could not keep up. In the end, they only learned that Luli had gone to the region of flowers. The moles at the Central Imperial Universe did not send back any news. Luli was gone. Yin Hu and the others had to send out secret messages to the moles at the Central Imperial Universe and the scouts from the purgatory of primordial chaos to look for Luli. They searched for 5 or 6 days, but found no trace of Luli. Yin Hu and the others were frustrated. They decided to wait for Luli's return. They did not believe that Luli could really crack the divine imperial city. Inevitably, some patriarchs of the Yin family spread the news. Some disciples of the immediate Yin family snorted. They believed that Luli was bluffing. How could a warrior at the initial stage of the semi-god realm do it when not even immortals could? Yin Yi, the most important young master of the Yin family, sneered. He believed that Luli was at his wit's end. Luli was just playing tricks to prolong the semi-god realm warriors outside. Yin Yi was frustrated. Not only him, but the other young masters of the immediate Yin family were as well. They should have gone to the ancestral land. However, they did not want to leave the prosperous divine imperial city. There were too many Yin family progenitor warriors in the ancestral land. They would be reprimanded if they acted rashly. However, Luli had been attacking for more than 10 months. Apart from cultivating and chatting, the young masters could do nothing. They didn't even have the courage to hold a banquet. On the 14th day of Luli's departure, Yin Yi could not stand it anymore. Today was his birthday, his 32nd birthday. As the most important young master of the Yin family, Yin Yi cared about his reputation. Many young masters and young ladies secretly planned to hold a banquet to celebrate. After all, the inhibition formation in the hall was activated. They could party in the hall. As long as nobody spread the news, Yin Hu would turn a blind eye even if he received the news. With the secret preparation, the young masters and young ladies in the city who had been bored gathered in Yin Yi's mansion. They activated the inhibition formation in the hall and partied through the night. On his 30th birthday, Yin Yi received the bad news that Yin Zhen had died, which made him very unhappy. He did not dare to celebrate his 31st birthday. After holding back for so long, Yin Yi and the group of young masters and young ladies completely let go. They drank the whole night in the main hall. When it was almost dawn, each of them hugged a young lady from a vassal family and entered the room. They began to vent their anger and anger. The girl Yin Yi chose was not a popular social butterfly. She was a young lady from the immediate family of an affiliated family, the Yang family. She was well known in the divine imperial universe. She was a pretty girl. Normally, she would not have sex. Yin was. It was to her. It might was Yin Yi's Yin. E.t. Red candles flickered in the room, and the fragrance of Buddhist incense wafted through the air. The woman wore a red dress and was more beautiful than a flower. At this moment, she was bashful and seemed as if she wanted to reject him, but at the same time, she wanted to welcome him. He didn't even bother to talk about flirting. He hugged young Miss Yang and was about to kiss her. "Young Master Yi, what are you doing? This won't do. If grandfather finds out about this, he'll beat me to death." Young Mistress Yang was still twisting her body in a reserved manner. Her jade-like hands pushed against Yin Yi's body, but she did not have the slightest bit of strength. "Ha ha ha." Yin Yi laughed heartily. He tore young Lady Yang's dress and said, "What are you afraid of? Tomorrow, I will ask third uncle and your grandfather for your hand in marriage. Shuang, this is a beautiful night. Just give in to me." "I can't." Miss Yang still wanted to be reserved, but the blurriness in her eyes betrayed her. She murmured, "This is a critical period. So many divinity transformation realm cultivators are attacking the city. What if the city is breached?" "Ha ha ha." Yin Yi laughed even louder. He tore off all his robes and stripped Lady Yang naked. Looking at the beautiful body in front of him, an evil glint flickered in Yin Yi's eyes. Even so, he put on a mocking smile and said, "Luli wants to break into the city? In his dreams. He can cultivate for another 1,000 years, and he will not be able to bang." Right at that moment, the ground suddenly trembled. Yin E, who was about to have sex, fell off the bed. Young Lady Yang jumped up in fright. She forgot that she was naked. She asked in shock, "What is going on?" How could Yin E know what was going on? He was drunk. He stood up, blinked, and shook his head. "I don't know. Don't worry about him. Let's move on, bang." The ground shook again. Yin E was about to pounce on young Lady Yang when he bumped into the headboard. Luckily, he was strong, or else he would have bled. He clutched his head and exchanged glances with Miss Yang. Both of their eyes were filled with shock. How could the ground shake? They were standing on the divine imperial city, a city floating in the air. Even if an earthquake were to happen, the divine imperial city would not be affected. Bang, 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 bang. All of a sudden, there came some hurried knocks on the door. The inhibition formation in the room was glowing. Yin, he was wondering what was going on. Out of instinct, he poured out Xian energy to activate the inhibition formation. Bang! The door was pushed open, and a young master of the Yin family rushed in. When he saw that Yin, E, and Miss Yang were both naked, he was stunned and stood rooted to the spot. Ah! Young Lady Yang came back to her senses. She covered herself with a quilt and screamed. But soon she stopped. That young master had brought a shocking piece of news. That young master yelled, "Stop screaming. The divine imperial city is breached. Family Patriarch has ordered us to evacuate at once. Hurry, or it will be too late. The enemies have broken in." What? Yin, he felt he was struck by lightning. He was trembling. He was still naked. His body was trembling, which made him look indecent. Ha 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 ha. From outside came a loud laughter. To Yin, E, and young Lady Yang. The laughter sounded like the laughter of the devil. That person shouted, "The divine imperial city is breached. Lord Liu has given the order. Apart from the civilians, everyone is allowed to kill at will. If you have a grudge, take revenge. Don't let a single member of the Yin family escape. Kill, charge." An earth-shaking roar rang out, along with countless people's cries of alarm and countless women's cries. There were also sounds of explosions. For a moment, the entire divine imperial city was in chaos. The city is breached? The city is breached? How can it be? How can it be? Chapter 1182. It had only been half a month since Luli left. The Bloodvine did not let him down. Today was exactly half a month. Just now, the shield outside the divine imperial city was closed all of a sudden. Then, the city gate was opened quietly. The Bloodvine's way of cracking formations was ingenious. So ingenious that Yin Hu, who was in control of the core of the divine imperial city, had no idea. It was not until the shield was closed and the gate was opened that Yin Hu was alerted. The deaf Taoist, Blazing Hua, and the others had been attacking outside the city. They were aware that the shield was closed and the gate was opened. Though they did not receive Lu Li's order, they were fast enough to react. They dashed in at once and killed the two semi-god realm warriors that came to block the gate. The semi-god realm warriors behind them were not stupid. They did not know why the divine imperial city was going through such a drastic change, but they swarmed in at once. In an instant, all the semi-god realm warriors dashed in. Yin Hu could not close the gate even if he wanted to. The more than 90 semi-god realm warriors were like tigers. They had been attacking outside the city for a long time. All of them were frustrated. When they rushed in, they saw the black mass of soldiers rushing over and immediately began the slaughter. The Yin family warriors reacted quickly. They were on guard on the city walls. Many of them were stunned for a moment when they saw the gate was opened. However, they flew over at once, trying to block the gate. Whoosh, 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 many powerful warriors flew up from the divine imperial castle. Many semi-god realm warriors flew up from the courtyards in the city. Almost all the semi-god realm and earth immortal realm warriors in the city came out, except for Yin Hu. The powerful warriors of the divine imperial universe were enraged to see their warriors being slaughtered. They knew that they had no other choice but to fight to the death. In this way, they could buy some time for the juniors and disciples of their families, so that as many as possible could escape. As a matter of fact, there were not many powerful warriors in the city. Those warriors were summoned back from the purgatory of primordial chaos. In total, there were only over 30 warriors. At the moment, more than 30 Semigod realm warriors dashed toward Blazing Hua and the others fearlessly. They were ready to die. Throughout history, the divine imperial city that had never been breached was breached today. What was more, the number of Semigod realm warriors was 3 times that of the Yin family and the affiliated families. The powerful warriors of the Yin family and the affiliated families knew that the odds were against them today. That being said, they had no choice but to fight. Charge, charge, charge! Blazing Hua and the Deaf Taoist were furious. Many Semigod realm warriors were excited and overjoyed. The Yin family had dominated the 9 realms for hundreds of thousands of years. They had bullied and offended countless families. It was estimated that more than half of the people present had enmity with the Yin family. How could they let go of such a good opportunity? More than 100 Semigod realm cultivators were fighting in the city. Many of the buildings in the city were not natural. They were built after they were built. Many of the buildings were swept away by the shockwaves of the attacks, and countless people died. This included many civilians. Just now, Luli had told the Deaf Taoist through Yu that civilians should not be killed. That being said, under such circumstances, it was inevitable that innocent people would be hurt. Fortunately, most of the people living in the Divine Imperial City were members of different families. The civilians were only servants and maids. The number of civilians was pitifully small. In just a few dozen breaths of time, more than half of the buildings in the city had been flattened. The ground below was dyed red with blood, and corpses were strewn everywhere. The Yin clan had 2 million soldiers in the city, and these soldiers had suffered the most casualties. Soul formation realm martial experts were everywhere. In particular, Blazing Hua's fire was a weapon that could kill an army. Lotus lanterns danced in the sky. Average warriors would die if they touched them. The Deaf Taoist transformed. Instead of killing the average warriors, he targeted the Semigod realm warriors of the Yin family. The Deaf Taoist was ferocious. When a huge stone column smashed down, the Semigod realm warriors of the Yin family were either smashed to death or injured. None of them could last one round. The immortal's body was ferocious as well. He could kill a warrior with one punch. The immortal's body was so fast that the average warriors could not even see him. Lu Renhuang was among the Semigod realm warriors. He did not use strong, profound meanings. He just joined the fight because he thought it was pointless. In the time for half an incense stick to burn, the outcome was determined. There were too many Semigod realm warriors on the Yin family side. Blazing Hua and the Deaf Taoist were powerful warriors, and the immortal's body was horrifying. Apart from several warriors of the Yin family who could hold on for a while, the other Semigod realm warriors could not. The city was in a mess. People were flying away. Many were heading toward the divine imperial castle. Some were hiding in corners, and some were trying to sneak out from the city gate. In the time for one incense stick to burn, at least 3 million people had died. Every Semigod realm warrior was capable of great destruction. When over 90 Semigod realm warriors were killing average warriors, they could kill hundreds of millions in the time for one incense stick to burn. Yenhu did not show up. Only 7 or 8 Semigod realm warriors of the Yin family were left. All of them were wounded. They had to retreat to the divine imperial castle. Deaf Taoist, Blazing Hua, controlled the situation. Do not kill it, Will. Lu Renhuang could not help but say as he saw the Semigod realm warriors were shooting out Xian energy. At this rate, the millions of people in the city would be wiped out soon. Even though there were not many civilians in the city, the situation had been stabilized. To continue this unbridled killing would be against the harmony of the world. Blazing Hua and the Deaf Taoist knew who Lu Renhuang was. They had to respect Lu Renhuang. The two did not rush toward the divine imperial castle. Instead, they sent over a dozen warriors to guard the city gate and told the people in the city not to move. Otherwise, they would be killed. I will fight you to the death. As soon as the order was given, the city was less chaotic. However, a shout came from a yard. Then, A naked young man flew up with a spear in his hand. It was Yin. Just now, some Xian energy reached his yard and killed some of his friends and that young lady of the Yang family. Yin, he was furious. He dashed over naked. Bang! A semi-god realm warrior sneered. He made a handprint and smashed Yin down. Yin Yi's head was smashed, and he died without a complete body. In many yards, people would fly up every now and then. They swarmed toward Yin Yi like moths flying into a flame. In the end, they became moths and were all smashed to death. All right, don't just stand there. Break into the divine imperial castle and destroy the altar. If Yin Tiangong's avatar comes down, we will all be in trouble. Blazing was shouted. He knew there was an altar and a statue in the divine imperial castle. Yin, who had not shown up yet, he was probably trying to contact Yin Tiangang. They did not linger. They flew toward the divine imperial castle. Before they got close, the divine imperial castle began to glow. Then, a surge of horrifying energy came from the divine imperial castle and enveloped the entire city. Oh no! Blazing Hua and the deaf Taoist looked at each other and stepped back. What they were worried about the most had happened. Yin Tiangong's avatar had come down just in time. Yin Tiangang was not always idle in the divinity. He might not come down as soon as someone from the Yin family summoned him. They were unlucky. At the moment, Yin Tiangang had nothing important to do. Therefore, he came down at once. Good, very good, very good. Chapter 1183. Yin Tiangang was enraged. He felt he was a lion that was provoked by a bunch of rabbits. When Yin Zhen was killed, Yin Tiangang was already enraged. Now the divine imperial city was breached. How could a bunch of semi-god realm warriors kill his descendants? How could the divine imperial city be breached? Yin Tiangang did not know the answer. All he knew was that over half of the buildings in the divine imperial city were destroyed and millions of people had died. Many of them were his descendants, his people. Buzzing. Yin, who flew out from the divine imperial castle. A jade talisman with beautiful patterns glowed in his hand. The city gate was closed quickly. The shield over the divine imperial city was activated again. What? Blazing Hua and the deaf Taoist looked at each other in shock. Why was the city gate closed again? Was it not Lu Li who opened the city gate? Was it Yin Tiangang who let them in on purpose so that he could kill them all at once? But Lu Li was not in there. If the Yin family had planned this, Yin Tiangang would have sent his avatar down and not let them kill so many. Anyways, the city gate was closed and the shield was up again. There was no way to escape. The only way out was to destroy the altar, kill Yin Tiangong's avatar, and wipe out the Yin family. Of course, killing Yin, who and taking over the control core of the divine imperial city was another way. Charge! Without any hesitation, the deaf Taoist and Blazing Hua turned around and dashed toward the divine imperial castle. The other semi-god realm warriors looked at each other and decided to throw caution to the wind. They flew toward the divine imperial castle in a frenzy. Puny people! Yin Tiangang sneered. Then, the space above the divine imperial castle trembled. Xianqi in heaven and earth gathered together. A majestic man wearing a brown armor showed up in midair. This man was a shadow. He was over 100 feet tall and was as imposing as a mountain. In his hand was a saber in the shape of a crescent moon. He looked at the semi-god realm warriors with contempt. Yin Tiangang did not seem to be old. When he was young, he had reached a high realm. He already looked like this when he became an immortal. After all these years, his appearance did not change much. That being said, he was more majestic. The deaf Taoist was the fastest. In a blink, he had reached Yin Tiangang. He swung the stone column and smashed at Yin Tiangong's avatar. Black air swirled around the stone pillars. Due to the high speed, the chains wrapped around the pillars let out ear-piercing screeches. Wherever they passed, the void trembled. Insignificant tricks. A mere magical beast from the demon domain dares to be so arrogant? Get lost. Yin Tiangang snorted. He waved his hand, and the crescent-shaped saber spun quickly and reached the deaf Taoist in an instant. Huh! The deft Taoist swung the stone column and smashed it at the machete. What happened next shocked the deft Taoist. The machete was huge, and the stone column could hit it easily. However, when the stone pillars smashed onto it, it was as if it had smashed onto a loach, and it actually slid away. Rip! The machete that was spinning at a high speed was aimed at the deft Taoist's neck. Before the machete got close, the deft Taoist had already sensed something sharp. If he didn't dodge, his entire neck would have been cut off. Roar, roar! At this critical moment, the deft Taoist cried into the sky. He grew taller all of a sudden. Strands of black air came out from his chest and soon formed a black shield. Bang, bang, bang. The black shield exploded layer by layer. Then, the muscles on the deft Taoist's chest were torn apart piece by piece. Blood sprayed everywhere. The deft Taoist was smashed away. Blood gushed out from his mouth in midair. He looked awful. Hiss, hiss, many people gasped. As powerful as the deft Taoist was, he was injured in one move. Could an average semi-god realm warrior survive one move from Yin Tiangang? Meteorite flames. On the other side, Blazing Hua took action. The sky full of heavenly fire fell down. Dozens of 9 heavens ghost fire were hidden in the heavenly fire. The temperature of the entire city rose rapidly. Fall back. Many disciples of the Yin family and affiliated families were gathered at the divine imperial castle. Feeling the heat of the flames, they all turned pale. While the flames were still in the sky, those on the ground could already feel they were on fire. Could they survive if the flames were to fall down? Yin Tiangang sneered. With one hand, he quickly generated Xian Qi in heaven and earth. His hand abruptly slammed into the sky, and a gigantic phantom of a palm that was over 1,000 feet in size appeared, enveloping all the heavenly flames in an instant. Blazing Hua's pupils contracted and his face was filled with shock. His 9th heaven's underworld fire was caught by that hand. How could Yin Tiangong's avatar be so powerful? He was not even afraid of the special flames in heaven and earth. Oh no, spread out. The next second, Blazing Hua saw a glint of killing intent in Yin Tiangong's eyes. Blazing Hua understood what Yin Tiangang was thinking. As soon as Blazing Hua shouted, the huge hand in the sky smashed down. Countless corpse flames and corpse flames swept across, enveloping many semi-god realm warriors. Claw the void. Blazing Hua was not afraid of the flames himself, but the semi-god realm warriors could not. At this critical moment, Blazing Hua used his claws to grab at the corpse flames. However, there was a limit to what he could grab. Yin Tiangong's attack was too fast. Many semi-god realm warriors did not have the time to run away before they were enveloped by the flames. Over a dozen semi-god realm warriors were caught by the corpse flames. Their bodies were on fire. They screamed and rolled around in the sky. They cannot make it out alive. All hail our forefather! Yin Hu and the others shouted. Their faces were filled with joy. Yin Tiangang took advantage of the situation and killed 13 semi-god realm warriors on Lu Li's side in one move. Over 20 were burned by the flames. Though they survived, they were suffering. Go to hell. Yin Tiangang stared at Blazing Hua. He generated another shadow of a machete and threw it out. The machete whooshed on and reached Blazing Hua in an instant. Shield of fire. Blazing Hua shouted in a deep voice. Black flames emerged from his body and formed a shield made of black flames. Blazing Hua was confident in his shield of fire. Back then, the immortal's body and Lu Li's move could not crack the shield. Blazing Hua thought that Yin Tiangong's machete could not. Blazing Hua realized that he was wrong. The machete spun and cut in a straight line. His shield of fire was crushed. Eventually, the energy of the machete was neutralized by the shield of fire. That being said, Blazing Hua's chest was cut open. His internal organs were injured. This move contains the profound meanings of destruction, space, and many other things. The moves of a mighty warrior in the divinity are horrifying. Blazing Hua was filled with fear. When he was smashed away by the machete, he took the opportunity to step back. He did not dare to charge forward anymore. Blazing Hua knew very well that if he dared to approach Yin Tiangong's shadow, he would not be able to survive Yin Tiangong's 2 moves. By then, Blazing Hua would be smashed into pieces. It was the same for the deaf Taoist. He was seriously injured, but he could still fight. That being said, he did not have the courage to go forward. The other semi-god realm warriors did not have the courage to go forward when they saw that both were injured. Yin Hu! Yin Tiangang stopped. He shouted. When Yin Hu flew up, Yin Tiangang said with a sneer, I will teach you divine energy and skills. In a short time, you could be 10 times stronger. Go and chop off their heads. Hang them outside the divine imperial city. Chapter 1184. The divine imperial city was a large city with a radius of more than 30 miles. Yin Tiangong's avatar might be able to reach more than 30 miles, but he might not be able to hit a semi-god realm warrior. Even if they hit, they might not be able to kill them. Moreover, there were so many citizens in the city, and it was easy to accidentally kill one of their own. Therefore, Yin Tiangang was smart enough not to continue the fight. He was going to impart some special divine energy and a super secret skill to Yin Hu to enhance Yin Hu's combat ability in a short period of time so that Yin Hu could go after all the semi-god realm warriors. Lu Li stayed in the divine imperial castle to supervise the city and look for opportunities to intimidate or kill warriors. Yin Hu flew to Yin Tiangong's phantom image. The latter pressed one hand on Yin Hu's head. That hand glowed with golden light. Yin Hu's aura was increasing at a speed visible to the naked eye. Yin Tiangang couldn't be boasting. Yin Hu's aura was rising, and he couldn't lie. The deaf Taoist and Blazing Hua didn't dare to come closer, not to mention the other semi-god realm warriors. They all retreated to a corner. Patriarchal Taoist, what do we do now? Several semi-god realm warriors came, looking at Blazing Hua and the deaf Taoist in anxiety. The shield was down and the city gate was closed. They could not leave. Seeing that Yin Hu's aura was getting stronger and stronger, everyone panicked. Don't worry. Blazing Hua looked calm on the surface. He stared at Yin Hu and said, let's work together to kill Yin Hu. Yin Tiangang can't kill us from such a distance. Once Lord Lu makes his move, we can win. No matter how powerful Yin Tiangang was, he was just an avatar. His avatar could not move. They all retreated to the wall. When Yin Tiangong's machete flew over, they had already dodged it. The group of people nodded one after another. They passed the information to each other and stared at Yin Hu nervously. The deaf Taoist did not look at Yin Hu. Instead, he looked at the immortal's body in the corner. The god corpses were acting very strangely. As far as the deaf Taoist could tell, the immortal's body was just a puppet that would carry out Lu Li's orders to the letter. Just now, the immortal's body followed Lu Li into the city, which meant that Lu Li's order was to attack the enemies in the city. Now, the immortal corpses had learned to retreat, and it was still stuck to the city wall, not moving at all. Could it be that the immortal corpse also had a soul? Did he know fear? Was he afraid that Yin Tiangang would crush his body? The situation is getting tricky. Lu Renhuang frowned. He didn't expect Yin Tiangang to be this powerful. An avatar of his could kill a warrior at the peak of the semi-god realm. He was very confident in his own battle prowess, but he was not so blind as to believe that he was number one in the world. He knew that even though he had the wood origin orb, charging forward would not help him at this moment. It was better to just wait and see. Buzz, on the other side, Yin Hu's body began to emit a faint golden light. His aura grew stronger and stronger, surpassing that of Blazing Hua. Yin Hu himself was at the peak of the semi-god realm. He was not much weaker than Shun Tianxian. The atmosphere in the city became extremely depressing. People in the city were retreating to the north of the city in groups, hiding behind Yin Tiangong's shadow. Many people knelt on the ground with fanaticism, kowtowing to Yin Tiangong's shadow. At the most critical moment, their god had intervened. This meant that their god was always protecting them. After the time it took for an incense stick to burn, Yin Hu's energy had reached its peak. Yin Tiangang took back his hand and glanced over the semi-god realm warriors in the south of the city. He waved his hand and said, "Yin Hu, go and kill them all." "Yes, progenitor." Yin Hu opened his eyes. There seemed to be thunderbolts and golden light in his eyes. He was confident and fanatical. After bowing to Yin Tiangang, Yin Hu dashed toward Blazing Hua and the Deaf Taoist like a sharp sword. What? As soon as Yin Hu moved, everyone was taken aback. Yin Hu's speed had increased by more than 10 times. He was even faster than the Deaf Taoist and Blazing Hua. In a blink, Yin Hu had arrived. "Do it!" Blazing Hua and the Deaf Taoist shouted at the same time. As long as they could kill Yin Hu, Yin Tiangang would not be able to kill them, no matter how powerful he was. The Deaf Taoist was the first to make a move. He dashed toward Yin Hu and swung the stone column at Yin Hu. Blazing Hua made a move almost at the same time. He used the ghost fire and the corpse fire, the two most powerful kinds of flames. The other semi-god realm warriors swarmed over and used all kinds of moves, trying to kill Yin Hu in one move. Lu Renhuang did not take any action. Instead, he used psychic power to lock onto Yin Hu and to observe Yin Tiangang. The most powerful profound meaning Lu Renhuang had learned was Icebound World. Once he used it, not only Yin Hu, but also Blazing Hua and the Deaf Taoist would be affected. Lu Renhuang would rather not use it. Oh no! The next second, Lu Renhuang shouted to himself because he noticed that Yin Hu had vanished into thin air. So many people were attacking, and the space where Yin Hu was shaking. How could Yin Hu use teleportation? If he did not want to die, then it must be because of the skill Yin Tiangang had taught him. Icebound World. Without hesitation, Lu Renhuang released the profound meaning of Icebound World at once. The space around him was frozen. Even Blazing Hua and the Deaf Taoist were frozen at this moment. Swish! Lu Renhuang was not affected. He dashed over in a flash. A green bead in his hand glowed and turned into a huge shield, shielding him, the Deaf Taoist, and Blazing Hua. Bang! With a muffled sound, Lu Renhuang felt he was hit by a mountain. Even with the relic shield in front of him, he could not stand such a force. He was smashed away. Even Blazing Hua and the Deaf Taoist were pushed back by the relic shield. Bang, bang, bang. Yin Hu came out from the sky. He was angry. If it were not for Lu Renhuang, the Deaf Taoist's head would have been smashed by now. After Yin Tiangang transferred divine energy and skills to Yin Hu felt his strength had reached a horrifying level. He was confident that he could kill any semi-god realm warrior here. However, he was stopped by Lu Renhuang's relic. What made Yin Hu even more furious was that the bead would belong to the Yin family. Last time, Yin Gu took it to the Heaven Reverse Universe, and Lu Li took it away. Go to hell. He let out a furious roar and dashed toward a few semi-god realm cultivators next to him like a dragon. He swung his fist and smashed at them. One semi-god realm warrior's head was crushed. Even with a quasi-relic, that warrior could not stand the force of Yin Hu's fist. Bang, bang, bang. Yin Hu's speed was too fast, and his strength was too terrifying. In just 2 blinks, before Lu Renhuang, the Deaf Taoist, and Blazing Hua could react, the heads of 4 semi-god realm warriors were smashed. None of them could survive one move from Yin Hu. Run! The semi-god realm warriors nearby were frightened and ran away. Yin Hu glanced at Lu Renhuang, the Deaf Taoist, and Blazing Hua. Eventually, he decided to go after the semi-god realm warriors nearby. Lu Renhuang had a relic weapon. Killing Lu Renhuang will be difficult. What was more, the Deaf Taoist and Blazing Hua were powerful. Yin Hu decided to kill the other semi-god realm warriors first, and then Lu Renhuang and Blazing Hua. You can teleport? Blazing Hua and the Deaf Taoist looked at each other. The semi-god realm warriors tried to fight back, but Yin Hu teleported away. The two were terrified. Chapter 1185. Bang Bang. Yin Hu was fast. Every time someone attacked him, he would teleport away. Also, his teleportation was silent, and there was no fluctuation in space. He was like a ghost coming out from the void, which was impossible to guard against. When someone was attacking, space would tremble violently. Anyone that dared to go into the void would not only be torn apart by the twisting force of space, but also fall into turbulence and never get out. Clearly, Yenhu did not have this ability before. Otherwise, his name would have been known across the 9 universes. Apart from being the chief patriarch of the Yin family in the 9 universes, Yenhu had no other redeeming qualities. Needless to say, it was because of Yin Tiangang that he suddenly had such a powerful ability. Teleportation in turbulent space was not the most horrifying thing. The most horrifying thing was Yenhu's attack. What did Yin Tiangang give him? It must be more than divine energy. Yenhu's hand glowed in a golden light. Even Lu Renwang was shocked. Not even a relic artifact could stand it. How could an average semi-god realm warrior survive? In the time for a few breaths, more than 10 semi-god realm warriors had died. All of them were killed in one move. Their heads were smashed. Charge! Lu Renwang, Blazing Hua, and the Deaf Taoist could not let this go on. Whether or not they could kill Yin, who was one thing. They had to try. They could not sit around and wait for death. The 3 of them dashed toward Yenhu. Lu Renwang was in charge of defense, while the Deaf Taoist and Blazing Hua were in charge of offense. However, the 3 of them tried to surround Yenhu several times, but he always teleported away. Yenhu did not want to fight them face to face. He teleported away and went after the other semi-god realm warriors. Okay, the Yin family warriors were overjoyed to see the semi-god realm warriors being killed one by one, while the Deaf Taoist, Blazing Hua, and Lu Renwang could do nothing. The divine imperial city was closed. All the semi-god realm warriors were trapped. Nobody could escape. If Yenhu kept on killing, all of them would die here. Damn it, let's do it. The semi-god realm warriors saw that Yenhu was unstoppable and that he could teleport without making a sound. Nobody could tell who he would be next to. The semi-god realm warriors were mad. They were ready to risk everything. Since they were going to die anyway, they might as well die with a bang. They would drag the Yin family disciples down with them. At the north of the city were millions of civilians of the divine imperial city. More than half of them were Yin family disciples. Xiao, the 5 semi-god realm warriors dashed toward the north like 5 sharp swords. The 5 of them were careful. They all flew close to the city wall. Their divine thoughts were locked on Yin Tiangang, ready to defend against any attack from him. Kill! These 5 semi-god realm warriors reminded the other semi-god realm warriors. 7 to 8 semi-god realm warriors flew over from the other side. They were ready to kill all the disciples of the Yin family. Even if they were killed, they would die a worthy death. Yin Tiangang's shadow stood high in the sky. He could see the situation of the whole city clearly. How could these people's movements be hidden from his eyes? Die. When the 5 people on the left were halfway there, Yin Tiangang took action. He slapped the space in front of him with one hand, but he didn't create a giant handprint. Instead, a weak spatial shockwave spread out. The 5 semi-god realm cultivators were confused when they saw such a slight space fluctuation. What was Yin Tiangang doing? Blow a cool breeze over to cool them down? Not good. Soon, they realized something was wrong. When the slight space fluctuation reached them and touched them, the space around them began to tremble violently. A moment ago, it was still a gentle breeze, but now, it had suddenly turned into a whirlwind and huge waves. Everyone's body was completely out of control in midair, swaying up and down along with the violently vibrating space, like a small boat in a stormy sea. Whoosh, 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 5 beams of white light shot out from Yin Tiangang's hand. They were like 5 deadly hidden weapons that pierced through the air. They were so fast that the 5 people had no time to react. They could only watch the 5 beams of light getting bigger and bigger in their eyes. Dead. I will not let the Yin family off, even if I have to die. Ha ha ha, let's die together. 3 semi-god realm warriors did not fight back or try to run, even though they knew they were going to die. Each of them released a black snake. One of them released thousands of golden swords, and the last one released countless thunderbolts toward the crowd in the city north. How dare you? Yin Tiangang had thought the five would try to run away. He didn't expect that the three of them would launch attacks at the risk of their lives. In a hurry, Yin Tiangang could only release a huge hand, trying to stop all the attacks. The black snake was stopped immediately. But of the other two, one released thousands of long swords, and the other released countless thunderbolts. How could Yin Tiangang stop them all? Many attacks whooshed over. The population in the city north was too dense. Many people were hit at once. Many stepped back in fear. People were squeezing and bumping into each other. It was a mess. Bang, bang, bang. Boom, boom, boom. Thousands of golden swords pierced through many people. Thunderbolts whooshed down from the sky. Many people were burned into charcoal. Many places on the ground had turned into hell. Dead bodies were everywhere. Long-range attacks. The 8 semi-god realm warriors on the other side saw this. They knew Yin Tiangang would not give them a chance to go into the city north. Strike when you are down. The 8 of them launched long-range attacks at once. It was a group attack. The attacks whooshed over, covering half of the sky. Even Yin Tiangang was having a headache. If he were here in person, he could stop tens of thousands of semi-god realm warriors. However, he was only an avatar. The strength and means he could use were limited. In a hurry, Yin Tiangang had to release some huge hands. However, some of the attacks from the 8 semi-god realm warriors were strange. Some of them were close to the ground, which caught Yin Tiangang off guard. Civilians of the divine imperial city at the north suffered a great loss. On the other side, the 5 semi-god realm warriors were all killed by Yin Tiangang's beams of light. The 8 semi-god realm warriors did not run away. They just kept on attacking to the north, trying to kill as many as they could. They were grinning hideously, and their eyes were filled with madness. After all, they were determined to die. If they could kill all the Yin family disciples, it would be worth it even if they were killed by Yin Tiangang. Courting death. Yin Tiangang was enraged when he saw the civilians at the north being killed. Conservatively speaking, at least 1.5 million were killed. He was the progenitor warrior of the Yin family, a mighty warrior in the divinity, a patriarch of the Black Dragon Mansion, a famous warrior on the list. Many people at the north were his descendants, and they were killed right in front of him. How could he not be enraged? Die, die, die. Yin Tiangang hacked the 8 semi-god realm warriors for more than a dozen times. The 8 were not particularly capable. They could not dodge Yin Tiangang's attack. Brothers, this is the last round of attack. Let's drag the Yin family disciples down with us. An old warrior laughed out loud. All of a sudden, blood oozed out from his body. The blood was glowing in a dark blue hue. Clearly, it was poisonous. He let out a roar, and the blood that came out of his body turned into thousands of hidden weapons that whizzed toward the north. He had absolute confidence that anyone below the deity transformation realm would die, without a doubt, after coming into contact with his blood. Charge, charge, charge! The other semi-god realm warriors responded. They released the last round of attack and fearlessly faced the incoming sabers. They laughed and waited for death. Bastard! Yin Tiangang was enraged. He used his hands to stop the attacks. At this moment, he suddenly saw a black shadow from the corner of his eyes. When he looked in another direction, he almost went mad with anger. Chapter 1186. The Divine Imperial City had a population of 10 million. In the beginning, 2 to 3 million were killed by a group of semi-god realm warriors. This time, the 13 semi-god realm warriors attacked with all their might. Another 2 to 3 million died. Blazing, who was last attack, killed another 1 million and wounded many more. Of course, the main reason was that the population at the north of the city was too dense. Almost all the people in the city had retreated to the north. That place was crowded with people. Most of them were at the Eternal Lord realm or to the human sovereign realm. How could warriors of this level survive the attacks of semi-god realm warriors? Not even heaven's fire, let alone ghost fire and ghost fire, could stop blazing with flames. Hell on earth. More than half of the 10 million died. The survivors were all wounded. Miserable cries and wails could be heard everywhere. Blood, limbs, and bodies were scattered all over the city. The beautiful divine imperial city had become a dead city. Everywhere one could see was a scene of desolation. It was a ghastly sight. Ah! Yin Tiangang was enraged. He shouted into the sky and released several machetes, trying to cut Blazing Hua into pieces. Fire shield. Taking advantage of the chaos, Blazing Hua released the fire shield at once and retreated. He took out the stove and built many walls of fire behind him. Bang, bang, bang. Blazing Hua was wise. Yin Tiangong's revenge came at once. Blazing Hua was frightened by the machetes. If Yin Tiangang had done this the first time, Blazing Hua would have died. The walls of fire were torn apart by the machetes at once. Blazing Hua hurriedly controlled the stove to build more walls of fire. They could not stop the machetes from coming, but they could consume some of the energy. Ghost fire and ghost fire. Blazing Hua released all the ghost fire and ghost fire he had. Shadows of beasts dashed toward the machetes. Blazing Hua knew that the ghost fire and ghost fire could not stop the machetes either. That being said, they could at least weaken the energy in the machetes. Blazing Hua's years of experience saved his life. In the end, the machetes all hit him. However, after being weakened by the walls of fire, the ghost fire, and the ghost fire, the machetes did not have much energy left. They could not break the fire shield. Blazing Hua stepped back easily. Bang! As soon as he stepped back, the head of a semi-god realm cultivator next to him was smashed. Seeing Yin Hu's murderous eyes staring at him, he knew that the situation was not good. Because he had just released the 9th Heaven Nether Flame and Ghost Flame, it would be difficult to block Yin Hu's attack with the fire shield alone. Yin Hu disappeared in the air without a sound. In the next second, he appeared behind Blazing Hua and punched at his back with a golden fist. Bang, bang, bang. Yin Hu's fists were not afraid of Blazing Hua's Ignis fire at all. He kept hitting Blazing Hua's back. The Ignis shield glowed with flames. It seemed like it was about to explode. Get lost. Blazing Hua sensed a fatal danger in his soul. How could he just wait for death? A brownish-red lotus flame condensed in his hand, and he suddenly slapped it toward Yin Hu's chest. He did not believe that Yin Hu's attack and speed could be increased by 10 times in a short period of time. Soon, he found that he was wrong again. His lotus flame slapped on Yin Hu's body, but it couldn't hurt Yin Hu at all. A faint golden halo appeared on the surface of Yin Hu's body, blocking the burning flames. Icebound World. At this critical moment, Lu Renhuang dashed over and released Icebound World. The Deaf Taoist swung the stone column at Yin Hu from the other side. Buzzing, Yin Hu knew that if he did not leave now, he would be surrounded by the 3 semi-god realm warriors. He vanished in the air and went after the other semi-god realm warriors. 6 or 7 of the more than 90 semi-god realm warriors were killed by the Yin family semi-god realm warriors when they rushed into the city. Yin Tiangong's avatar had just come out and killed more than a dozen at once. Since Yin Hu arrived, he had killed at least 20. Just now, Yin Tiangang killed more than a dozen. That was to say, in such a short period of time, more than half of the more than 90 semi-god realm warriors had died. More than a dozen were seriously injured, and their abilities were weakened. Only about 30 could fight. That was relative. Killing low-level warriors might be useful, but it would not help much when facing Yin Hu and Yin Tiangang. If they could not find a way out, everyone here would have to die today. But how could they find a way out? Nobody knew that at this moment. Even Lu Renhuang, the Deaf Taoist, and Blazing Hua were at a loss. Yin Tiangong's attacks were too sharp. Breaking the altar was out of the question. The only way was to kill Yin Hu. But how? Yin Hu's defense was heaven-defying, and he also had the ability to teleport. No one could kill him. Time moved on. Every time for a few breaths, a semi-god realm warrior would die. In the time for one incense stick to burn, everyone would be dead, except for Lu Renhuang, the Deaf Taoist, and Blazing Hua. Yin Hu was enjoying the killing. He had never enjoyed it so much in his life. Previously, he was just the chief patriarch of the Yin family. Apart from that, he had nothing else to offer. Now, Most of the powerful warriors of the 9 universes were here, and they died in his hands one by one. He would leave a mark in history. Even though the Yin family had suffered a great loss this time, the 9 universes would be weakened after he killed all of them. The Yin family could take advantage of the situation and conquer the 9 universes. Yin, who would help the Yin family achieve a great undertaking and intimidate the 9 universes. As the semi-god realm warriors died one by one, Yin Tiangong's anger subsided a bit. He glanced over the remaining semi-god realm warriors with a mocking grin. What? All of a sudden, Yin Tiangang noticed the immortal's body in the corner of the city. He was shocked. The immortal's body had restrained his qi and energy. At first, Yin Tiangong's attention was attracted by Blazing Hua, the Deaf Taoist, and Lu Renhuang. Yin Tiangang had thought that the immortal's body was just a corpse. The immortal's body. Yin Tiangang was knowledgeable. He recognized the immortal's body at once. The Yin family had told him about the immortal's body before. Yin Tiangang used psychic power to check and was surprised. Not even his psychic power could see the immortal's body clearly. There was a special formation inside the immortal's body that isolated him. Wait! Yin Tiangang suddenly yelled. Without any hesitation, he released several machetes and hacked at the immortal's body. The machete spun quickly and soon reached the immortal's body's back. Clank, clank. Unfortunately, the machetes only created some sparks on the scales on the immortal's body's back. The immortal's body was not harmed at all. He stayed close to the city wall and was not smashed away. Yin Tiangang, seemed to be in a hurry. He shouted, "Stop it! Go and blast the immortal's body away. He is cracking the inhibition formation of the city." Yin Tiangong's actions and words had alerted many people. Blazing Hua, the Deaf Taoist, and Lu Renhuang had been wondering why the city gate was opened so easily. Only now did they understand that it was the immortal's body. Just now, the Deaf Taoist was wondering why the immortal's body was hiding in the corner instead of attacking. Now, he knew that the immortal's body was cracking the formation. Buzzing, right at that moment, the inhibition formation of the city glowed. The city gate was opened again quietly. With a flash of purple light, a handsome young man in a purple armor flew in. Now you realize it? Too late. As the young man flew in, he looked at Yin Tiangang in midair and said coldly, "Yin Tiangang, we meet again. Last time I killed Yin Zhen. This time, I am here to wipe out the Yin family." Chapter 1187. As a matter of fact, Luli had left the region of flowers a long time ago. Blood Fairy had sent him a message when she was about to crack the inhibition formation. Unfortunately, Blood Fairy did not have a good grasp of the timing. By the time Luli arrived, the city gate had been closed by Yin Hu. Luli told Bloodvine to crack the inhibition formation again. This time, Bloodvine was faster. Just now, she closed the inhibition formation. The city gate was open. Naturally, Luli came in at once. Lord, the Deaf Taoist, and Blazing Hua were overjoyed to see Luli come in. The other semi-god realm warriors were overjoyed as if they had found their backbone. Even Lu Renhuang was relieved. Lu Renhuang looked at Lu Li's confident face. His instinct told him that with Lu Li's arrival, everything would be solved. Yin Tiangang snorted. Lu Li, there's a way out, but you chose to break into hell. Do you think you can destroy the Yin family when you are in the Divine Imperial City? Let me tell you, this is where you will die. Whoosh! Yinu did not waste any time. He dashed toward Lu Li. Lu Li took out his relic weapon, but Yin Hu vanished into thin air. The next second, Yin Hu reappeared behind Lu Li and was about to punch at the back of his head. Lu Li was wearing a relic armor. He was not afraid at all. He swung his arm backward. As soon as the Slayer's move was taken out, the wind and clouds were stirred up. Xianqi in heaven and earth pressed toward Yin Hu. Yin Hu's fist was only 1 foot away from the back of Lu Li's head, but he could not make it. Bang! The blood-red ray of sword light whooshed out. Yin Hu was knocked back for more than 100 feet, but the golden shield around him glowed and managed to fend off the Slayer's move. The Slayer's move? No wonder Yin Tiangang was a mighty warrior in the divinity. He could see the origin of Lu Li's move at once. Yin Tiangang was afraid. The Slayer's move was famous in the divinity because the Slayer once enjoyed a great reputation in the divinity. If it were not for the fact that the Slayer died in an accident when he explored the 9 perilous places in the divinity, nobody could imagine what the Slayer would achieve in the future. Slayer's true meaning was created by Slayer, so it was named after him. It was listed as one of the 10 great true meanings in the divine realm. The fact that Lu Li could learn the Slayer's move filled Yin Tiangang with jealousy and killing intent. This time, they could not let Lu Li survive. Otherwise, if Lu Li was allowed to grow, there would be a second Slayer. After Yin, who was smashed away by Lu Li, he was smart enough not to attack Lu Li again. Since Lu Li could suppress him with heaven and earth force, teleportation would be useless. He dared not to let Lu Li go on. Because he did not have much energy left, Yin Tiangang transferred some special energy to him, but more than half of it had been consumed. An air-piercing sound suddenly came from behind him. The god's corpse, which had been motionless all this time, moved at this moment. It turned into a beam of flowing light and shot toward Yin Hu's back. Its speed was no slower than Yin Hu's when he flew at full speed. His gaze suddenly swept behind him, and he was slightly startled when he saw a headless corpse. That was because the corpse had not moved a moment ago, so why did it suddenly move now? He did not hesitate for long. He suddenly swung his fist at the god's corpse, wanting to smash the headless corpse into pieces. Boom! A surge of horrifying energy spread out. Yin Hu was smashed away for dozens of feet. So was the immortal's body. But after 100 feet, the immortal's body dashed toward Yin Hu again. How is this possible? Yin Hu was taken aback. The immortal's body did not hurt him, but he was smashed away. Besides, the special energy that Yin Tiangang transferred to Yin Hu had been consumed. Yin Hu stared at the immortal's body, wondering how this body could be so strong. On the other side, Lu Li flew over at full speed. He glanced at the deaf Taoist, Blazing Hua, and Lu Renhuang. The others understood and flew over as well. Swish! Lu Li released the Slayer's move. Yin Hu was suppressed by heaven and earth. He could not move and could only watch as the attacks landed on him. Realizing that the special energy was running out, Yin Hu shouted, "Forefather!" If Yin Tiangang did not move, he would not be able to stand more attacks. When the special energy ran out, given his abilities, he would be smashed into pieces. Piss off! Yin Tiangang moved. His avatar moved. Usually, an immortal's avatar could not go too far away from the statue. The connection between him and the Heaven Reverse Universe was that statue and the altar. Once the avatar was too far away, it could collapse. A huge avatar with a height of 100 feet was moving. His energy moved with him, which put great pressure on Lu Li and the others. Lu Li was about to kill Yin Hu. He would not allow Yin Tiangang to interfere. He glared at the immortal's body and ordered, "Immortal's body, stop Yin Tiangang at all costs." Lu Li's order to the immortal's body was actually to Blood Fairy. Bloodvine had taken control of the immortal's body and dug out many secrets from him. In other words, the immortal's body had a soul. Whoosh! The immortal's body dashed toward Yin Tiangang's avatar at once. Lu Li hacked at Yin Hu again and again, not giving him a chance to run away. Usually, Lu Li's blood-red ray of sword light would either kill someone directly or knock them away due to their strong defense. However, Yin Hu was in a special situation. The golden energy around him could offset Lu Li's attacks. Therefore, even though Yin Hu would be knocked back, it would only be a dozen feet, which gave Lu Li the chance to continue. Yin Hu tried to teleport away many times. However, Lu Li's attacks were relentless. As soon as Yin Hu could move, he would be stopped. He could not teleport away. Boom, boom, boom. How could the deaf Taoist, Blazing Hua, and Lu Renhuang miss such a good chance? The three of them attacked with all their might, trying to kill Yin Hu before Yin Tiangang arrived. But could the immortal's body stop Yin Tiangang? The three of them did not hold out much hope. Piss off. The immortal's body stood in their way. Yin Tiangang was enraged. He hacked at the immortal's body with a machete, trying to smash the immortal's body away. At that moment, the immortal's body suddenly shone with a golden light. He smashed at the machete with his fist. An earth-shattering explosion rang out. The surrounding void trembled as violent shockwaves radiated in all directions. Lu Li and the others had been watching. They were all stunned. Even Lu Li was taken aback. In the distance, Yin Tiangang was astonished as well. Yin Tiangang's attack could not even make the immortal's body step back. That spinning machete could even hurt the deaf Taoist and blazing Hua. How come it could not do anything to the immortal's body? How could the others not be shocked? Nice! Lu Li was only stunned for a moment before he was delighted. Clearly, after the blood vine took control of the immortal's body, it had tapped into some of his abilities to increase his abilities. Otherwise, the immortal's body could not have survived Yin Tiangang's attack so easily. Go to hell. Lu Li paid no more attention to the immortal's body. He swung his relic weapon several times in a flash. The deaf Taoist and the others came back to their senses and attacked desperately. Yin Hu's face became extremely pale because the special energy was about to be used up. He could only shout in fear, "Ancestor, save me!" Yin Tiangang could not save him because the immortal's body was bogging him down. After Lu Li used another move, Yin Hu's energy was depleted. Eventually, Yin Tiangang could only watch helplessly as Yin Hu exploded into a mist of blood. Chapter 1188. Yin Hu. Yin Tiangang's bellow was deafening to the ears of the remaining civilians of the divine imperial city. Many of them trembled and were terrified. Yin Tiangang could not even protect Yin Hu. How could he protect them? Was this really the end of the Yin family? Was Lu Li really the bane of the Yin family? Phew. The deaf Taoist, Blazing Hua, Lu Ran Wang, and the other semi-god realm warriors breathed in relief. Yin Tiangang's avatar had moved over, but he could not protect Yin Hu. This indicated that Yin Tiangang's abilities were limited. He was not omnipotent, and there was a chance that they could win. Spread out. Lu Li did not let his guard down. Back then, Emperor of Heaven Reverse's avatar was still fresh in Lu Li's memory. Lu Li was not afraid of Yin Tiangang with the relic armor, but Lu Ren Huang and the others could be easily killed by Lu Li. The deaf Taoist and Blazing Hook did not disobey Lu Li's order. Lu Ren Huang, on the other hand, was hesitant. Seeing the determination in Lu Li's eyes, Lu Ren Huang stepped back. The other semi-god realm warriors had a blind trust in Lu Li. As soon as Lu Li gave the order, they stepped to the sides. Bang bang. Yin Tiangang kept hacking at the immortal's body, trying to smash it away or destroy it. He did not believe that his avatar could not smash an immortal's body. Was the immortal's body a supreme warrior in the divinity? Not even a super mighty warrior in the divinity could be this strong. The Bloodvine had control of the immortal's body and learned some of his abilities. Even after being hacked at by Yin Tiangang for more than a dozen times, the Bloodvine did not step back. It stood in the air and blocked Yin Tiangang's way. What shocked many semi-god realm warriors was that such a horrifying attack could injure the deaf Taoist and Blazing Hua, but could not even leave a scale on the immortal's body. Impressive. Many exclaimed to themselves. Lu Li was shocked as well. Emperor Z did not lie. His body was the strongest below the third plane of the divinity. Whoosh! Lu Li approached Yin Tiangang quickly. He wanted to destroy Yin Tiangang's avatar. When he succeeded, the divine imperial city would be within his reach. A glint of killing intent rose in Yin Tiangang's eyes when he saw Lu Li coming. He waved his hand, and a machete came at Lu Li in a flash. At that moment, Lu Li could have gone back into the wicked bead, but he chose not to. Instead, he took the blow head-on. Bang! With a muffled sound, a force as strong as a mountain came. Lu Li felt a slight pain in his chest, and he almost spat out some blood. Yin Tiangang's attack was indeed sharp. Even though he was wearing a relic armor, he was still injured. Luli could have stopped the extravasated blood, but he spat it out at this moment. His face turned pale, and he was smashed away for more than 100 feet. Luli, my lord! Lu Renwang, the deaf Taoist, and Blazing Hua shouted. Lu Renwang was especially concerned. How could Lu Renwang not worry about Luli when all beasts knew how to protect their cubs? Don't come over. Luli threw Lu Renwang, the deaf Taoist, and Blazing Hua a cold glance. Wielding his saber, Luli hacked at Yin Tiangang. At the same time, he ordered Bloodvine, Blood Fairy, go and destroy the altars and statues in the divine imperial castle. Blood Fairy and Li had a spiritual connection. Luli could order her directly. Blood Fairy flew the immortal's body to the north at once, paying no more attention to Yin Tiangang. Swish! Luli's blood-red ray of sword light flew over. Luli had thought that he could use the force in heaven and earth to stop Yin Tiangong's shadow. It turned out that he had underestimated a mighty warrior in the divinity. Yin Tiangong's shadow suddenly became translucent in the air. The blood-red ray of sword light whooshed through, but did not inflict any harm on Yin Tiangong's shadow. What? The immortal's body flew to the north. Yin Tiangang was hesitating. He knew what the immortal's body was going to do. However, he had been attacking the immortal's body for a long time and could not defeat him. Therefore, even if he were to go back to the north at once, it would be difficult to stop the immortal's body. Charge! A glint of determination rose in Yin Tiangong's eyes. Luli just spat out blood. Did that mean that Lu Li's body was not strong? Though Lu Li was wearing a relic armor, Yin Tiangang wanted to see if he could kill Lu Li. When Lu Li was dead, the immortal's body would not be able to move. By then, Yin Tiangang could kill everyone else. Yin Tiangang chose to take a gamble. He looked to the north of the city and ordered, "All warriors, go out and stop this immortal's body." The Yin family had several semi-god realm warriors, hundreds of earth immortal realm warriors, thousands of human sovereign realm warriors, and countless noble lord realm warriors. Yin Tiangang was prepared to sacrifice human lives to stall the immortal's body for a moment, so that Yin Tiangang could kill Lu Li. Charge! Yin Tiangang gave his order. Powerful warriors of the Yin family were the first to answer. They flew up, followed by countless warriors. They dashed toward the immortal's body like a swarm of locusts. They were ready to use their lives to form a wall of flesh to stop the immortal's body. Luli, go to hell. Yin Tiangang kept swinging his machete. Luli could not afford to be careless. He secretly used the burning blood skill to strengthen his body and the dragon armor. Inside the relic armor, Lu Li's skin was covered with dragon scales, which could protect him from the vibrations. Bang, 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 bang. Lu Li was hit by the rotating machete. Every time, there would be a muffled sound. He was smashed away again and again by the horrifying force. However, after using the burning blood skill and the dragon armor, Lu Li felt much better. Even though he would be slightly injured every time, it was nothing for his strong body. PFF, PFF, every time Lu Li would spit out blood. He was not bleeding because of the vibrations. He was doing it on purpose. He was playing along with Yin Tiangong's plan so that Yin Tiangang would think that he had a chance. Lu Renwang was panicking again. He almost dashed over. Lu Li threw him a meaningful look. Finally, Lu Renwang came to his senses. He winked at Blazing Hua and the others. All of them dashed toward the north of the city. Bang, bang, bang. At the north of the city, the fight had begun. The immortal's body was unstoppable. He could kill one warrior at a time and smash them away. However, there were too many warriors coming. The immortal's body could not kill all of them in a short time. He had to press on to the north. What? Yin Tiangang noticed that Blazing Hua and the others were moving toward the north. He was worried. If Blazing Hua and the others were able to reach the divine imperial castle, the remaining Yin family disciples and warriors of the divine imperial city would all perish in a short time. What mattered most was the altar and the statue. If the altar and the statue were destroyed, his avatar would vanish at once. Something is wrong. Yin Tiangang turned to Lu Li. Even though Lu Li was pale and blood was dripping from the corner of his mouth, his eyes were filled with vigor. All of a sudden, Yin Tiangang realized that Lu Li was acting. His real intention was to destroy the altar. Whoosh! Yin Tiangang flew the avatar toward the divine imperial castle. Lu Li sighed. Lu Renhuang, Blazing Hua, and the deaf Taoist thought themselves to be clever, but they had ruined his plan. Chapter 1189. Since he could not outwit them, he had to resort to force. Without any hesitation, Lu Li dashed into the wicked bead and dashed toward the north of the city. Bang! The wicked bead was times faster than the immortal's body at the top of its speed. In the time for one breath, the wicked bead had reached the north of the city and smashed in a crowd, killing many noble Lord Realm warriors. The wicked bead. Yin Tiangang was greedy. He had just arrived, and Lu Li had caught up with him. How fast the wicked bead was! Yin Tiangang used psychic power to check the wicked bead. He was sure that this was the supreme relic that was said to contain a huge secret. That being said, he had no time to worry about the wicked bead. He flew to the divine imperial castle and poured out rays of golden Xian energy. The entire divine imperial castle glowed as a golden shield appeared. There were altars and statues in the divine imperial castle. When Yin Tiangang got the city, he had made up his mind. He had taken control of the city in person. A formation was added to the divine imperial castle. It would not be easy to crack it. Step back. Seeing that Blazing Hua and the others were approaching, Yin Tiangang ordered civilians around the divine imperial castle. This group of people was no longer of any use here. They would be killed by Blazing Hua and the others. After activating the formation in the divine imperial castle, Yin Tiangang turned to Blazing Hua, the deaf Taoist, and the others. Since he could not kill Lu Li for now, Yin Tiangang decided to vent his anger on them first and make Lu Li feel heartache. Swish, swish, Yin Tiangang's shadow dashed over. He hacked at Blazing Hua, Lu Renhuang, and the deaf Taoist for 6 times. Blood Fairy, go and crack the formation. Lu Li ordered the blood vine. Then he turned to Lu Renhuang and the others and said, "Leave the city. I will take care of things here." The deaf Taoist and Blazing Hua had started to step back after Yin Tiangang's attack. Hearing Lu Li's words, they felt relieved and flew toward the city gate. Yin Hu was dead. The core to control the divine imperial city was in the interspatial ring, which was taken by Lu Li. Therefore, the city gate was still open and people could come and go at any time. Lu Renhuang gave Lu Li a meaningful look. Seeing the determination in Lu Li's eyes, Lu Renhuang made up his mind and stepped back as well. He wanted to help Lu Li after he took control of the bead of wood. However, on second thought, he was weaker than Blazing Hua and the deaf Taoist. Staying here would only be a burden to Lu Li. The other semi-god realm warriors were relieved to hear Lu Li's words. Without any hesitation, they dashed out of the city. The semi-god realm warriors were all gone. Yin Tiangang wanted to stop and kill some of them. However, the immortal's body had already rushed down and leaned against the divine imperial castle with one hand on the wall. Clearly, the immortal's body was working again. The people who were still alive had all retreated to the northwest corner of the city, but there weren't many left. There were only 3 or 4 million people, and many of them were injured. The Yin family had suffered heavy losses this time. Yin Tiangang didn't care about the people anymore. His virtual shadow slapped at the immortal's body continuously. At the same time, he attacked with his curved blade, trying to knock the immortal's body away and stop him from breaking the formation. However, the immortal's body was like a mountain. No matter how Yin Tiangang attacked, the immortal's body would not budge. Yin Tiangang was losing his patience. If the immortal's body were to break the divine imperial castle, the altar and the statue would be lost. His avatar would vanish, and none of the Yin family disciples in the city would survive. The divine imperial city would become Lu Li's. Whoosh! Yin Tiangang had an idea. He dashed over and grabbed the wicked bead. His hand glowed in a golden light. He used strong energy to imprison the wicked bead and at the same time began to refine the wicked bead. The wicked bead was flying toward the northwest, but it could not move as soon as it was grabbed by the hand. Luli could tell that the wicked bead was being taken away by the avatar of God of Wings. Buzzing, the wicked bead glowed as Luli teleported out. He wanted to put the wicked bead into his interspatial ring. However, the wicked bead was grabbed by Yin Tiangang with one hand. Swish! Luli had to use the relic weapon to hack at Yin Tiangang's shadow and release the Slayer's move. However, Yin Tiangang had too many skills. His shadow became transparent. The blood-red ray of sword light whooshed by, but did not inflict any harm on Yin Tiangang. Luli could feel that the spiritual connection between him and the wicked bead was weakening. This time, he was losing his patience. The wicked bead was a valuable artifact passed down by Emperor Hung to him. He could not let Yin Tiangang take it away. Luli was enraged. He hacked at the northwest with the relic weapon. There were many Yin family disciples there. Luli believed that Yin Tiangang would not turn a blind eye to this. Yin Tiangang did not pay attention. Even though he was angry, he did not do anything. He knew that he could not stop the Slayer's move, even if he tried to stop Yin Tiangang. Therefore, he made up his mind to take control of the wicked bead first. By chance, he once heard about the bead. It was a rare artifact, a supreme relic. Inside the bead was a secret. If he could obtain the bead, his abilities would be enhanced. By then, if he could become a super mighty warrior in the divinity, he could return to the heaven reverse universe and seek revenge. Boom! The blood-red ray of sword light whooshed on. Many warriors in front of Lu Li were torn apart. The ray of sword light even exploded. All the warriors in that area were wiped out. There was no telling the number of casualties. A conservative estimate would be at least hundreds of thousands. Yin Tiangang did not pay attention. Luli did not press on. Killing those low-level warriors and civilians would not bring him any pleasure. Luli had no choice but to strike at the divine imperial castle. He wanted to make a bet with Yin Tiangang. He wanted to see if he and the immortal's body could crack the divine imperial castle first, or if Yin Tiangang could take control of the wicked bead first. Yin Tiangang was taking control of the wicked bead quickly. Luli estimated that it would take him at least an hour to take control of the wicked bead. In an hour, Luli and the immortal's body should be able to crack the divine imperial castle. Blood Fairy, can you crack the divine imperial castle in an hour? Luli was worried. He asked Blood Fairy in his mind. Blood Fairy answered after a pause. Almost. Lord, go on and consume the energy of the divine imperial castle. It will be easier for me to crack the formation. Okay. Luli paid no more attention to the wicked bead. He hacked at the divine imperial castle with the relic weapon in his hand. Rays of blood-red sword light whooshed out and landed on the divine imperial castle. There were over 3 million civilians at the northwest corner. All of them were looking at Lu Li with anxiety and fear. Lu Li's attacks were horrifying. Every time he landed on the divine imperial castle, people would tremble. Though they did not know the details, they could guess that Lu Li and Yin Tiangang were having a contest of strength. The outcome of the contest would determine their life and death. Of course, some Yin family higher-ups understood that no matter who won, they would not be able to escape death. Even if Yin Tiangang could take control of the wicked bead, when the divine imperial castle was breached, his avatar would be gone. Once the avatar was gone, everyone would die. Naturally, Yin Tiangang knew this. He thought about it and suddenly sent a message to the patriarchs of the Yin family. Take your teams and get out of the divine imperial city. Run for your lives. Later, I will use an avatar to help you stall the semi-god realm warriors for a moment. Yin Tiangang was ready to give up on the Yin family. He had no other choice. Though Yin Tiangang was a mighty warrior in the divinity, the immortal's body was too strong. Lu Li was wearing a relic armor. Yin Tiangang's avatar could do nothing to Lu Li. Listen up. Warriors, take your people and leave the city. Orders were passed on. The 3 million civilians at the northwest corner were hopeless. Yin Tiangang might be able to stall the semi-god realm warriors for a while, but where could they go? Could they escape from the pursuit of the semi-god realm warriors? Many turned to Lu Li, filled with fear and hatred. Of course, some were regretting. Chapter 1190. Carried by many warriors, the millions flew out of the city along the city wall. Lu Li heard Yin Tiangong's words, but did not do anything. For him, the millions of civilians in the divine imperial city could not survive. Even if the semi-god realm warriors did not take action, they would be hunted down and wiped out sooner or later. The Yin family had offended too many families. Too many semi-god realm warriors of the 9 universes had died in the divine imperial city. The hatred was deep. The most important thing for Lu Li now was to break into the divine imperial castle and destroy the altar and the statue. Otherwise, the wicked bead would be taken away by Yin Tiangang. That being said, Lu Li did not understand. Even if Yin Tiangong's avatar could take the wicked bead to the divinity, how could Yin Tiangang take the wicked bead with him? Did he have to fly the wicked bead to the divinity? Boom, boom, boom. Lu Li did not think about it, since he could not figure it out. Time was running out. He attacked the divine imperial castle again and again. Meanwhile, Blood Fairy was working on the formations in the divine imperial castle. The 3 million warriors had arrived at the city gate. The Deaf Taoist and Blazing Hua had sensed it. They were ready to kill the millions of warriors. Buzzing outside the city gate, Xianxi in heaven and earth suddenly gathered together. Then a shadow appeared. It was another Yin Tiangang. Space confinement. As soon as Yin Tiangong's avatar came out, he slapped at the void. The nearby void trembled layer by layer, and countless spatial cracks extended in all directions, like a broken mirror. The cracks in space did not vanish after they spread out. Instead, they stabilized in the air. The dozens of semi-god realm warriors, Blazing Hua, the Deaf Taoist, and Lu Ranhuang could not move at all. Yin Tiangang had used a powerful skill to confine the space nearby. Everyone was confined in the air. They could not move at all. Whoosh, 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 several patriarchs of the Yin family flew out from the city gate with their warriors. Under Yin Tiangong's guidance, they flew down the city as soon as they came out from the city gate. The space here was not completely confined. Yin Tiangang had left a way out. The Deaf Taoist and the others watched as millions of people rushed down from the divine imperial city and then split into dozens of groups, running to all directions. But the Deaf Taoist and the others could not even lift a finger. Yin Tiangong's avatar outside the city gradually disappeared, but the space confinement was still there. The people outside still couldn't move. They could only watch the more than 3 million people disappear into the distance. After the time for one incense stick to burn, a stream of white smoke came out from Lu Renhuang's body. The white smoke spread to all directions and then froze an area with a radius of several miles. Break! Lu Renhuang uttered one word. The frozen space cracked layer by layer. At this moment, everyone could move again. The cracks in space gradually disappeared. Blazing Hua glanced at the semi-god realm cultivators nearby with a cold and gloomy look. Those semi-god realm cultivators immediately turned into ferocious lions and rushed in all directions. There was a fire burning in their hearts. If they didn't kill every single one of the Yin family's disciples, they wouldn't be able to quell the anger in their hearts. Lu Renhuang did not go after them. Blazing Hua and the Deaf Taoist stayed. There were only 4 patriarchs of the Yin family left, and they were not strong ones. The remaining semi-god realm warriors of the Yin family had gone after them. Not many of the hundreds could escape. Time moved on. The situation was still in a stalemate. Lu Renhuang and the other 2 were getting impatient. The divine imperial castle was the core of the divine imperial city. If Lu Li could not crack the formation and the wicked bead was taken over by Yin Tiangang, then things would be troublesome. Lu Li, Yin Tiangang suddenly shouted. Staring at Lu Li, who was attacking the divine imperial castle, he said, "How about we talk?" Lu Li knew that Yin Tiangang was trying to buy some time. He kept attacking. Looking at Yin Tiangang with contempt, Lu Li said, "What do you want to talk about? Tell your people to stop the killing first." Yin Tiangang went straight to the point. "I think you are about to ascend to the divinity, right? Basically, all the immortals ascending from the nearby universes will go to the southern divinity. I am a patriarch of the Black Dragon Mansion, one of the top 10 forces in the southern divinity. You know this. If you offend me, you will have a hard time in the southern divinity. I will use the Black Dragon Mansion to hunt you down. You will find it hard to go anywhere in the southern divinity. Also, I know the locations of dozens of ascending platforms. As soon as you ascend, I will know. If you agree to my terms, I can take an almighty oath to wipe the slate clean between us. What do you say?" Yin Tiangang was sincere. An almighty oath was the most solemn one. If Lu Li agreed, then Yin Tiangang would not be able to hunt him down when he ascended to the divinity. Lu Li sneered to himself. He did not ask you to send a message to the semi-god realm warriors to stop the killing, nor did he stop the Slayer's move. He just said calmly, "Let's talk about the terms first. If they're too much, then forget it." Yin Tiangang was in a hurry. After a moment of hesitation, he said, "First, the wicked bead is mine. You will not be able to unleash the full power of the wicked bead. Also, an innocent man will get into trouble because of his wealth. You must have heard this before. You will be in endless trouble when you ascend to the divinity. I can give you 3 high-quality relics and 100,000 divine sources as compensation." Chapter 1191. Yin Tiangong's statue was destroyed, and then the altar was also smashed by the immortal's body. He lost the connection with this place, and his avatar could not exist anymore. Yin Tiangong's avatar dissipated, and the battle came to an end. Of course, Lu Li could not afford to be careless. He used psychic power to check the divine imperial city again and again. Making sure that everything was fine, he let Lu Renhuang and the others in. "Father, this should be the core to control the divine imperial city. Take it." Lu Li took out Yin Hu's interspatial ring, took out a jade talisman with beautiful patterns, and handed it to Lu Renhuang. Blazing Hua and the deaf Taoist glanced at each other. Their eyes were filled with excitement, especially Blazing Hua. The Yin family had been able to stand proudly in the 9 realms for hundreds of thousands of years because of this divine city. If the Hua clan could obtain this divine city, the Hua clan would be able to rise rapidly and stand proudly at the top of the 9 realms. Of course, Blazing Hua only dared to think about it. The excitement in his eyes soon vanished. He looked at Lu Li with awe and mixed feelings. The Yin family that had stood proudly at the top of the 9 realms for hundreds of thousands of years, and even had a God Realm Almighty in their family, would cease to exist after today. Even if there were some disciples of the Yin family in the ancestral land, Lu Li would not let them go. He would send someone to find them, break the spatial barrier, enter the ancestral land, and wipe out the Yin family. The structure of the 9 realms had officially changed from this day onwards. The sky of the 9 realms had changed. The rise of the Lu clan was only a matter of time. In the future, the Lu clan would replace the Yin clan and become the overlord of the 9 realms. Lu Renhuang did not take over the Jade Talisman. He said with a frown, "Lu Li, you should take control of the divine imperial city. It can make you stronger. You will be more secure in the divinity." Lu Renhuang heard Yin Tiangong's roar at the end. He was worried about it. Anyhow, Yin Tiangang was a prominent figure in the southern divinity. Lu Li had just ascended to the divinity, and he might be killed right away. One more relic would give Lu Li more means to protect himself. "I have the wicked bead." Lu Li handed the jade talisman to Lu Renhuang with determination and said, "The wicked bead is as strong as the divine imperial city. This city is for the Lu family to protect." The divine imperial city was indestructible. If it were not for the bloodvine, Lu Li would not have been able to break into the divine imperial city, even if he had reached the immortal realm. With the divine imperial city, the Lu family would have absolute protection. All right. Lu Renhuang took over the jade talisman. He sat on the ground and began to consume it. The earlier he could have the divine imperial city, the more he could focus on other matters. Luli did not leave the divine imperial city at once. Instead, he stood in the city for a long time. For one thing, he was trying to calm down, and for another, he was trying to figure out what to do next. The destruction of the Yin clan was only a matter of time, and the structure of the 9 realms had changed. This time, more than 90 semi-god realm warriors came, and 60 or 70 of them died in battle. The major families suffered a great loss. With the divine imperial city, the Lu family had a foothold in the 9 universes. It was time for the Lu family to relocate to the 9 universes. After all, the Heaven Reverse universe was too small. Xianqi and resources were scarce. For the Lu family to develop into a superfamily, they must occupy a universe of the 9 universes. Luli never thought about unifying the 9 universes. The Lu family had too few powerful warriors. It was fine when Lu Li was still alive. But as soon as he ascended to the divinity, the Lu family would be attacked by other families. By then, the Lu family might be wiped out. 2 hours later, Lu Li had an idea. Turning to Blazing Hua, he asked, "Blazing Hua, do you want the Hua family to take control of the 4 universes?" Plop. Blazing Hua dropped to one knee and said gratefully, "Lord, thank you for your kindness. The Hua family will never forget this." Lu Li was the most powerful warrior in the 9 universes. All the families had suffered a great loss. None of the families dared to disobey Lu Li. Otherwise, what awaited them would be destruction. Based on Lu Li's words, it was a foregone conclusion that the Hua family would take control of one of the 4 universes. How could Blazing Hua not be overjoyed? Of the 4 universes and the 5 minor ones, the 4 were the most fertile, the most suitable for warriors to cultivate, and the most likely to produce powerful warriors. If the Hua family could take control of any of the universes, in a few hundred years, the Hua family would become a force that could dominate the 9 universes. If I give the divine imperial universe to the Hua family, do you have the guts to take it? Lu Li asked again after a pause. Blazing Hua trembled. He stared at Lu Li in disbelief, thinking that he had heard it wrong. Of the 4 universes, the divine imperial universe was universally acknowledged to be the largest with the most blessed lands and resources. Otherwise, the Yin family would not have been able to occupy this universe. However, shouldn't the Lu family be the one to occupy this universe? How could Lu Li give it to the Hua family? Who would complain about a family territory that was too large? Too many resources? Do not doubt my determination. Before Blazing Hua could say anything, Lu Li said with a smile, "As long as you promise me one thing, I will give the divine imperial universe to the Hua family." The Hua family will enjoy glory for generations to come. Blazing would try to suppress his joy since Lu Li did not seem to be joking. "Lord, please tell me. If I can do it, I will not say no. It is simple." Pointing to Lu Renhuang, Lu Li said, "Later on, you will become my father's sole slave. When my father ascends to the divinity, you will become the sole slave of someone my father chooses. In other words, you will be a slave of the Lu family for the rest of your life. Of course, I will give you a title. You will be a god of worship for the Lu family. Others will not know the truth, and the Lu family will treat you with respect." What? Blazing Hua was taken aback. The light in his eyes dimmed down. He understood what Lu Li meant. Blazing Hua could forget about being a slave for the rest of his life. He could not regain his freedom until he died of old age. Lu Li had promised him that he would set Blazing Hua free before he left the divinity. But now Lu Li had changed his mind. Blazing Hua would be deprived of his freedom until the day he died. He would be someone else's slave. Brilliant. The deaf Taoist had an idea. He understood Lu Li's plan at once. Lu Li was planning for a way out. He found a super bodyguard for the Lu family to protect the Lu family after he ascended to the divinity. The deaf Taoist admired Lu Li's means. He gave up the vast divine imperial universe, just like that, and gave Blazing Hua and the Hua family some benefits. That being said, no matter how powerful the Hua family was, in the end, they would be the watchdogs of the Lu family. At the end of the day, the divine imperial universe would belong to the Lu family. The Lu family's foundation was weak and the number of warriors was small. It would take hundreds of years for the Lu family to develop. When Lu Li went to the divinity, he would not be able to look after the Lu family. With Blazing Hua and the Hua family protecting the Lu family, the relic city, and the relic, Lu Li could rest easy. The divine imperial universe was too tempting. For decades, nobody would dare to do anything. However, in 100 years, when many families grew stronger or a powerful warrior emerged, they would have their eyes on the divine imperial universe. Lu Li left the divine imperial universe to the Hua family to deal with challenges from other universes. As long as the Hua family was not destroyed, the Lu family would be safe. Blazing Hua soon understood all the twists and turns. That being said, he could not help but be tempted. This was the divine imperial universe. If the Hua family could develop well, in a few decades, the Hua family could grow into a towering tree and become a super family. Blazing Hua had hundreds of years left in his life. If nothing major happened in the next few centuries, with his careful management, the Hua family could have a firm foothold in the divine imperial universe and rise above the 9 universes. If the Hua family could have 1 or 2 immortals, the future of the Hua family would be immeasurable. Okay, Blazing Hua made up his mind. He bowed and said with respect, "Lord, you can make the decision." Lu Li nodded and grinned. With Blazing Hua's words, Lu Li would have nothing to worry about. He could focus on becoming an immortal and then explore the vast divinity to look for Lu Ling. Chapter 1192. The war came to an end. The news spread across the 9 universes and then to dozens of nearby universes. Families of those universes were in an uproar. Many semi-god realm warriors came to the divine imperial universe, but they were all from super families and warriors from the purgatory of primordial chaos. Many families did not have any semi-god realm warriors, or only 1 or 2. Therefore, they did not know much about the situation until the news spread out. The news was like the most horrifying earthquake and tsunami. Many people were dumbfounded. At first, many people thought it was fake news. After repeated inquiries, they were sure that it was true. Lu Li's name reverberated across the universes. Almost all the universes that knew the news were talking about Lu Li and the Yin family. Yin family's influence on the 9 universes was too great. For 1,000,000 years, the other 8 universes' overlords rose and fell. Families took turns to control the 8 universes. But Yin family had always been there, and it had always been at the peak of the 9 universes. It could be said that Yin family was the king of the 9 universes. All the families were Yin family subjects. Though Yin family did not have direct control over the other families, when Yin family was angry, any family would tremble in fear. If Yin family wanted to wipe out a family, even the Wu family or the Chun family of the Mage Imperial Universe would not be a problem. Yin family had been standing for 1,000,000 years and enjoyed glory. They had offended and destroyed many families. In the 9 universes, no family dared to compete with Yin family. Wherever Yin family pointed, no family dared to compete. In history, 3 immortals once entered the divine imperial universe. One of them wandered around the divine imperial city and left. The other 2 immortals attacked for months and returned in failure. The divine imperial city was like the residence of a real god emperor. It was indestructible and unbreakable. Finally, the divine imperial city was breached. It marked the end of an era. Some were happy and some were sad. Some sighed, some were confused, and some were restless. The war and the invasion of the Heaven Reverse universe had reduced the number of warriors in the 9 universes by more than half. Over 100 semi-god realm warriors had died. The families had suffered a great loss. In addition, Lu Li had risen. the structure of the 9 universes would change. Many families were worried that Luli would wipe out the 9 universes in one fell swoop. Chun family and Hua family were the happiest. This time, Chun family had made a great contribution. Their status in the Central Imperial Universe was secured. Also, as Luli rose in status, who dared to make trouble for the Chun family? Blazing was sent a message back secretly. Of course, he did not mention his agreement with Luli. All the disciples of the Hua family were overjoyed. This was a free lunch. They could enter the divine Imperial Universe. Didn't that mean that the Hua family would become the #1 family in the future? Many higher-ups of the Hua family came to their senses. Luli was the leader of the 9 universes, and the Lu family was the most powerful family in the 9 universes. If they didn't change their stance, the Hua family might immediately be destroyed. The Jun family was panicking the most. When Jun Hongye heard the news, he stood in the backyard for half a night. At dawn, he ordered all Jun family disciples to retreat to their ancestral lands. The Earth Imperial Universe. The Jun family didn't want it anymore. When the Jun family was settled, Jun Hongye opened the passageway between the Earth Imperial Universe and the purgatory of primordial chaos. He knelt by the entrance to the divine Imperial Universe and sent a message to Luli, stating that he was willing to accept any punishment from Luli. Jun Hongye begged for death. He offered the Earth Imperial Universe to Luli, hoping that Luli would spare the Jun family. After the news spread, the 9 realms were in an uproar again. Jun Hongye was one of the most powerful warriors in the 9 universes. He was kneeling by the entrance to the divine Imperial Universe and begging for death. He sent a message to Luli at once. There were some subsidiary bodies of Hiyu in the prison of gold. Luli said nothing when he heard the news. He told Jun Hongye to stay on his knees. Luli was busy. He had to find the ancestral land of the Yin family and destroy the Yin family. Luli had been influenced by Lu Ling since he was a child. He would show no mercy to his enemies. Now that he had become sworn enemies with Yin Tiangang, he would not let the tiger go back to the mountain. The Yin family had the ancestral land with many elite warriors and abundant resources. In a few decades or a century, the Yin family would grow again and come back. By then, when he went to the divinity, the Yin family would have their eyes on the Lu family. Luli sent out a message that anyone that could find the ancestral land of the Yin family would be rewarded handsomely. Lu Li's order was sent out. Many families swarmed to search for the ancestral land. However, in the end, over 3 million escaped from the divine Imperial Universe, including several patriarchs of the Yin family. Even though almost all of them were killed, none of the patriarchs of the Yin family were captured alive. They were either killed or committed suicide. At Lu Li's order, everyone in the 9 universes took action. Those that wanted to join Lu Li or those that held grudges against him wanted to make a contribution. The existence of the ancestral land of the Yin family was top secret. Apart from the patriarchs of the Yin family, not even the most powerful young master of the Yin family, Yin Yi, knew where it was. All the patriarchs of the Yin family outside had died. It was difficult to find the ancestral land. That being said, all the families in the 9 universes had taken actions. It was only a matter of time before the ancestral land was found. After all, the 9 universes were filled with extraordinary people. Lu Li was the most powerful warrior in the 9 universes. Anyone that could help him find the ancestral land of the Yin family would be rewarded with a meteoric rise. The higher-ups of the Hua family had come to the divine Imperial Universe and began to take control of the divine Imperial Universe. Many families that were affiliated to the Yin family had surrendered to the Hua family. The Hua family had grown several times stronger. In 10 days, Lu Li announced that from now on, the divine Imperial Universe would belong to the Hua family. The news caused another sensation. Many people were surprised. Why didn't Lu Li take over the divine Imperial Universe? Was he going to settle the Lu family in the Heaven Reverse Universe? Half a month later, Lu Li finally sent a message through Hiyu, asking Jun Hongye to commit suicide. The Jun family would let bygones be bygones, but Jun Hongye could not come out for 300 years or else he would have to face the consequences. Jun Hongye decisively committed suicide at the entrance to the divine imperial universe. In front of many people, he slapped his forehead and died on the spot. Many families finally realized that Lu Li was trying to settle the Lu family in the Earth Imperial Universe. The Earth Imperial Universe originally had two families, the Jun family and the Hao family. Last time, when the Hao family invaded the Heaven Reverse Universe, many semi-god realm warriors died. After Jun Hongye came back, he unified the Earth Imperial Universe. Now that the Jun family had retreated to the ancestral land, the Earth Imperial Universe had no major forces. The Lu family would become the dominator of the Earth Imperial Universe. Many warriors did some calculations and were impressed by Lu Li's means. After all, the divine Imperial Universe was too tempting. The Lu family was too weak. If the Lu family occupied the divine Imperial Universe now, when Lu Li ascended to the divinity, the Lu family might be attacked by the other families. By then, the Lu family might be wiped out. Now, the Hua family was used to attract the attention of the other families. To destroy the Lu family, the Hua family must be eliminated first. Under pressure, the Hua family would ally with the Lu family. Of the four major universes, the Earth Imperial Universe was the smallest, inferior to the Divine Imperial Universe, the Mage Imperial Universe, and the Central Imperial Universe. That being said, it was one of the four major universes, much better than the 5 minor universes. The Lu family occupying the Earth Imperial Universe would not make too many jealous. The Lu family could develop well. What was more, the Lu family had the Divine City. Which family would bother the Lu family for no reason? Chapter 1193. The Purgatory of Primordial Chaos, the Prison of Wood. A while ago, Lu Li asked you to send a message for all disciples of the four major families and powerful warriors of the Heaven Reverse Universe to go to the Prison of Wood in case the warriors of the 9 universes went on a rampage and went to the Heaven Reverse Universe. Therefore, the Prison of Wood and Inferno were quite lively. A large number of warriors lived in the Prison of Wood and Inferno. Over a dozen new cities were built in the Inferno to accommodate too many people. Mingyu was in charge of the Inferno, and Lu Jingyang was in charge of the Prison of Wood. Patriarch of Law Enforcement didn't pay much attention to other affairs. He preferred to be alone. Jiang Qiling, by Xia Shuang, and by Qiushua even invited him to live in the Valley of Cherry Blossoms. Jiang Qiling stopped cultivating as well. After she reached the semi-god realm, she found it difficult to make any progress. Maybe it was because of the legacy of Emperor of Heaven Reverse that she had been progressing too fast, and her foundation was not stable. After Lu Li left, she cultivated several times but failed to make any progress. Recently, she decided to stop cultivating and take care of Lu in every day. Bai Xiaoshuang was not a fan of cultivation. Bai Qiushue was the only one who would cultivate in peace. Bai Qiushue was a quiet girl. She had acquired the 4th and 5th levels of the enchantment. She wanted to learn the next 2 levels so that she could become an immortal and go to the divinity with Lu Li. Unfortunately, the latter 2 levels were created by an ancestor of the fairy fox race that went to the divinity. They were abstruse and abstruse. For a moment, Bai Qiushue could not make any progress. It was a sunny day. Lu Jingyang came with great-grandfather 5, Jiang Tianshun, and the others to chat with Patriarch of Law Enforcement. They sat in a bamboo forest in the Valley of Cherry Blossoms, chatting over tea. Even though they didn't mention Lu Li's trip to the 9 universes, they all seemed to be worried. Whoosh! Suddenly, an air-piercing sound rang out from a courtyard in the distance. Following that, a beautiful figure shot out from the courtyard and quickly rushed over here. What? Patriarch of Law Enforcement and the others were surprised to see Jiang Qiling. She was usually a prudent girl. Why was she so reckless this time? Why did she fly over instead of walking? Great-grandpa, Grandpa Lu, Grandpa Jiang, great-grandfather 5. Jiang Qiling landed. Before she could steady herself, she said with joy, "My husband has just sent a message. He has conquered the 9 universes and is about to wipe out the Yin family. He asked us to prepare to relocate to the 9 universes. He is going to leave the Earth Imperial Universe to the Lu family." What? Even though the law enforcement elder had a calm temperament, he suddenly stood up with a look of pleasant surprise. Lu Zhengyang, Jiang Tianshun, and great-grandfather 5 trembled with excitement. Lu Li had been gone for more than a year, and there was no news from him. If it were not for the fact that Lu Li's jade talisman of life was still intact, they would have thought that something had happened to Lu Li. Unexpectedly, they heard that Lu Li had leveled the 9 universes all by himself. They did not know much about the 9 universes. However, last time, many semi-god realm warriors from the 9 universes came. Also, Lu Li briefly told them about the 9 universes. He said that the 4 universes were hundreds of times larger than the Heaven Reverse universe. It was not hard to imagine how powerful the 9 universes were and how many powerful warriors there were. Good. The law enforcement elder cried tears of joy. He had never been so excited in his life. After his soul was reconstructed, he did not value family as much as before. He was deeply influenced by the former Grand Master and devoted himself to the development of the human race. Finally, the human race of the Heaven Reverse universe had welcomed a great opportunity for development. The humans of the Heaven Reverse universe could go to a vaster world. They could leave the Heaven Reverse universe and fight for supremacy in the 9 universes. Good grandson. Lu Xingyang's eyes were brimming with tears as well. His grandson had conquered the 9 universes all by himself. He had paved a way for the Lu family and the Heaven Reverse universe. Lu Li had become the most powerful warrior in the 9 universes. As his grandfather, Lu Zhengyang shared the glory. "That is impressive," Jiang Tianshun exclaimed. He remembered the first time Lu Li went to the demon-slaying battleground. Back then, Jiang Tianshun did not think highly of Lu Li and did not want Jiang Qilin to go with him. Who could have foreseen that a young man from the northern desert could one day stand at the peak of the 9 universes, conquering the 9 universes by himself? Let's go to the King Kong city. Patriarch of law enforcement paced up and down and shouted, "Gather all the patriarchs of the demon-slaying hall and the family patriarchs of families above the 4th rank of the Heaven Reverse universe. Gather at the King Kong city and discuss the relocation to the Earth Imperial universe." "Great-grandpa," Jiang Qiling said. "Lu Li said that he will let he use subsidiary body contact you directly. You can contact her if you have any questions. Then, we will relocate as a group." Okay. Patriarch of law enforcement nodded. He waved his hand and said, "Zhengyang, go and gather everyone at the King Kong city. I will go and talk to Lu Li and ask him some questions." "Yes." Lu Zhengyang and Jiang Tianshun looked at each other. Then, they went to the King Kong city with great-grandfather 5. Then, many orders came out like snowflakes. Soon, the prison of wood, the inferno, and then the entire Heaven Reverse universe. The entire Heaven Reverse universe was boiling. Many people wept in joy and spread the news. Almost all the taverns and tea houses were filled with people. Almost everyone was talking about this, looking forward to the future, and imagining how Lu Li would fight against the warriors of the 9 universes. Of course, there were also many people who had misgivings. There were also many clans that secretly convened the Elder Assembly to discuss and repeatedly debated. Going to the Earth Imperial Universe was to open up a path for the people of the Heaven Reverse Universe, a path to power. That being said, it was difficult to move from one's homeland. Many people had deep feelings for the Heaven Reverse Universe and did not want to leave. Many people were reluctant to leave their homeland and go to a strange place and a new world. What was more, the Earth Imperial Universe must have countless people and families. They were under Lu Li's protection. That being said, Lu Li and the Lu family could not interfere in everything. If they went to the Earth Imperial Universe, they would have conflicts with the local families. They might be wiped out before they could establish a firm foothold in the Earth Imperial Universe. Small families had their concerns, and so did the major families. When they went to the Central Imperial Universe, they would have to follow the Lu family closely and become an appendage of the Lu family. When the Lu family became the master of the Earth Imperial Universe, and Lu Li's name was well known, there would be many powerful warriors coming to follow and attach themselves to the Lu family. In the first few years, the Lu family might still care about the old friendship. However, after dozens or hundreds of years, the Lu family and the Lu family might be pushed aside or even plotted against by the other appendages of the Lu family. By then, they would not be able to establish a firm foothold in the Earth Imperial Universe. Where should they go? What was more, when the Lu family went to the Earth Imperial Universe, the Heaven Reverse Universe would become a land without an owner. Many families were eyeing the Heaven Reverse Universe. If they could control the Heaven Reverse Universe, they would be able to develop quickly. While the Heaven Reverse Universe appeared to be lively, it was turbulent on the inside as well. But one thing was for sure. The people of the Heaven Reverse Universe had been able to hold their heads high. They would walk with their heads held high, as if they were on cloud nine. It was as if when a man attained enlightenment, even his fowls and dogs could ascend to heaven. Patriarch of Law Enforcement discussed with Lu Li through He-Yu's subsidiary body and confirmed the relocation. Patriarch of Law Enforcement announced at once that warriors of the Eternal Realm could relocate to the Earth Imperial Universe. Chapter 1194. He-Yu's subsidiary bodies could not speak, but they could fly in the air and write words. They could communicate as well. Lu Li and Patriarch of Law Enforcement had a discussion and decided to establish an empire. This way, they would be more cohesive. Otherwise, if the Earth Imperial Universe were all Lu family, the other families would lose their sense of existence, cohesion, and unity. To establish an empire was to be a group. They would share both glory and loss. After all, the Lu family was too powerful. It had surpassed all the other families. Any family that went to the Central Imperial Universe would become an appendage of the Lu family. Establishing an empire would allow those vassal families to have a greater sense of existence, and they would also be able to share more benefits. An empire was a larger family. In the old days, the families were composed of internal clan, external clan, and guest clan. But now, the empire was governed by the families. They shared interests, a sense of honor, and a sense of unity. There was no doubt that the Lu family would become the royal family of the empire. By then, many families and powerful warriors of the 9 universes would seek refuge. The families of the Heaven Reverse Universe would form one faction, and the families of the 9 universes would form one faction. The Lu family would benefit from middle. Usually, it was okay for the 2 factions to fight against each other. It could create a healthy competition for the families. If there were external enemies, the families could work together to fight against them. In this way, the Lu family and the Earth Imperial Universe could develop faster. The rule of core disciples of the Lu family could be extended to the empire. Any family could become a core disciple as long as they had good character and talent. The empire would provide resources to train them. In the future, when they became powerful warriors, they could assume important positions and compete with each other. The system would be transparent. In this way, more talents could be recruited and the empire could develop better. When Patriarch of Law Enforcement spread the news, the families of the Heaven Reverse Universe were less worried. Going to the Central Imperial Universe and joining the empire would mean that the families were not appendages of the Lu family. They would have some power and benefits. The families would feel more at ease. Jiang family was the first to respond, followed by Yi family and Kong family. The 3 families were the closest to the Lu family. Going to the Earth Imperial Universe would benefit them and develop faster. Patriarch of Law Enforcement said that all families and warriors were not required to go to the Earth Imperial Universe. Everything was voluntary. Those who were willing to go to the Earth Imperial Universe should gather in the Inferno within a month and go to the Prison of Gold. Luli would send someone to pick them up, and they could go to the Earth Imperial Universe directly. The families took actions. Many responded. Many Eternal Realm, Noble Lord Realm, and Human Sovereign Realm warriors came to the Prison of Wood. A huge empire, a brand new empire. How many positions would there be? He dared not imagine how great the benefits would be. The Shadowland race responded. Komang was determined to live and die with the Lu family. Needless to say, the Cyan Phoenix race, the Mammoth race, and the Titan race agreed to go to the Earth Imperial Universe. They knew very well that if their tribe wanted to develop, they could only follow the Lu clan closely. Without the Lu clan support, they would soon be exterminated. Jiang Qiling, by Qiu Xue, and by Xia Shuang have been very happy lately. They were restless, imagining how they could meet up with Lu Li in the Earth Imperial Universe, and how magnificent it would be when Lu Li ascended to the throne. When Lu Li became the emperor, the three of them would also become empresses, the motherly models of the world. As a matter of fact, Lu Li was not at the Earth Imperial Universe, but he sent some semi-god realm warriors there to take over the Earth Imperial Universe in case resources were taken away and the situation was too chaotic. He was at the north of the Divine Imperial Universe. There was an entrance to a small world called the Holy Sun Universe, which was connected to a small world called the Netherworld Universe. There was a mysterious place in the Yellow Springs realm, a gloomy abyss. The abyss was bottomless. It seemed to be connected to the underworld. Therefore, this small world was named the Netherworld Universe. There was a race in the Void Universe that was strange. They could move in cracks in space and dared to enter turbulence in space. It was this race that entered the turbulence in space from the bottom of the abyss in the Netherworld Universe and found the ancestral land of the Yin family. Now that the ancestral land of the Yin family had been found, things would be easier. Lu Li asked Chun Tianxian to gather people to find the weakest spot in space and open up a passageway. As a matter of fact, the ancestral lands of the major families were just some strange small worlds. There was nothing special about these small worlds except that they were hidden and had abundant Xin-Chi in heaven and earth. Qin Tianxian led 2 semi-god realm warriors and more than a dozen Earth immortal realm warriors to open up a passageway in the abyss of the Netherworld. Lu Li sat in a mountain above the abyss, waiting quietly. Blazing Hua and the Deaf Taoist were guarding nearby. Lu Renhuang had almost taken control of the Divine Imperial City. He had closed the city gates. Lu Li was not worried that he would be assassinated. He had come in person to take control of the Divine Imperial City so that the Yin family could be wiped out. Boom, boom, boom. From the abyss came some muffled noises, but Lu Li did not pay much attention. The moment the ancestral land of the Yin family was found, the Yin family was destined to be wiped out. Lu Li's mind was at ease. The sword hovering above his head was gone. The Yin family was gone, and the families of the 9 universes were weakened. The Lu family had the Divine Imperial City. Nobody could threaten the Lu family or hurt his family anymore. As for Lu Li, did not worry about Yin Tiangang, god of barbarian, god of sorcerer, and god of wings, hunting him down in the divinity. The path of martial arts was about changing fate. Every step was filled with danger. Anyone who wanted to go against the heavens would have to endure all kinds of difficulties and obstacles, and they would have to experience all kinds of calamities. If one could make it through, one would have a bright future. If one could not, then it was fate. The divinity was boundless with many powerful warriors. It was a dangerous place. Even Emperor Slayer and Emperor Hung could lose their lives. Lu Li had to search for Lu Ling in the divinity, which was an arduous task. If he could not stop Yin Tiangang and the others from hunting him down in the divinity, then there would be no need to look for Lu Ling. Lu Li sat in the mountain for a while. He felt bored. It would take Chun Tianxian over a month to break down the spatial barrier. It would take 1 or 2 months for warriors of the Heaven Reverse Universe to come to the Prison of Gold. It was neither a long nor a short time. If he were to study the map of fundamental principle, he would be interrupted. I should go and read some books on inhibition formations. Lu Li went to the hall in the Wicked Bead. He picked up some books on inhibition formations and began to read. Recently, he had been interested in inhibition formations. Last time, he used the tripod to force Blood Fairy to surrender, which made him even more interested. If he could forge a divine weapon, he would be able to leave the Liu clan with more backing, and his journey to the divine world would be easier. It was said that everything in the divinity required divine sources. Without divine sources, one could not make any progress. When Lu Li killed Yin Zhen and Yin Hu, he obtained some divine sources, but he did not know how to use them. If he needed divine sources in the divinity, he could make relics and sell them for divine sources. Lu Li immersed himself in the vast knowledge of inhibition formations in the wicked bead. Time flew by. He felt like it had only been 10 days or half a month when he woke him up. Chun Tianxian had broken down the spatial barrier. The deaf Taoist and Blazing Hua had killed their way into the ancestral land of the Yin family. He reminded Lu Li to go to the ancestral land of the Yin family at once. The ancestral land was also known as the Treasury. Everything that the Yin family had accumulated over 1,000,000 years was in the ancestral land. Let's go and get the treasures. That you're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.